Chapter 2001. After hearing the sounds, many people were shocked and quickly rushed into the depths. If the immortal herb of immortality really appeared, it would be too shocking. That would be too shocking. It would most likely cause a rain of blood and foul winds. Lin Feng and the other three also rushed in. After reaching the depths, they found an open-air courtyard. The courtyard was about 100 square meters in size and was surrounded by corridors. There were all kinds of spiritual herbs planted in the courtyard. Among all the spiritual herbs, there was one that was surrounded by immortal light that was the most eye-catching. No one could see what the spiritual herb looked like. The courtyard was now surrounded by restrictions. Therefore, no one was able to enter the courtyard. Is it really the immortal herb of immortality? Lin Feng was moved. The value of such an immortal herb of immortality was unimaginable. Break the formation, someone said. Then, everyone started to break the formation. After about a day, the formation was finally broken. Then, everyone rushed into the courtyard. A few hundred meters away, the cultivators started to fight for the immortal herb of immortality. Kid, die. Qi Lian Fire Scorpion and Lung Qinxue joined forces and attacked Lin Feng. Lin Feng and the two strong cultivators were fighting fiercely. It was difficult to tell who would win. The two of them knew that Lin Feng's formation skills were very high. Therefore, one of them was guarding against Lin Feng's formation, while the other was in charge of attacking Lin Feng. The two of them worked together and suppressed Lin Feng. Pooh, pooh, pooh. Tearing sounds rang out one after another as people were killed one after another. People died tragically in the battle. There were corpses everywhere. The soil in the courtyard was stained red with blood and was very muddy. Everyone seemed to have gone crazy and attacked each other. Wake up! Suddenly, a cold voice was heard. Everyone's spirit was suddenly shaken. Lin Feng realized that he was not in the courtyard at all. Instead, he was standing in the corridor. He quickly retreated and distanced himself from Qi Lian Fire Scorpion and Lung Qinxue. The others were also standing in the corridor like Lin Feng. Many of them were even injured. There were also many corpses lying on the ground. The battle that had just taken place was not in the courtyard, but in the corridor. Many cultivators had also died tragically in the battle just now. The one who woke everyone up was the first elder of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance's elder group, Zhao Kuo. For this person to be able to become the leader of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance, his means were indeed not to be underestimated. He was not confused by the terrifying illusion from before. What's going on? Many people were puzzled. Monk Ishio, Wan Yinyang, and Sun Jian hurried to Lin Feng's side. Their expressions were solemn. Zhao Kuo replied, "It's that flower." Zhao Kuo then pointed at the immortal medicine of immortality that was surrounded by immortal light in the courtyard. The immortal light gradually dissipated. A mysterious blood-red flower appeared in everyone's sight. Ah! After seeing the blood-colored flower, someone immediately let out a shrill scream. His soul seemed to have suffered great damage. Lin Feng also felt a sharp pain in his head. If it weren't for his powerful soul, he would definitely be suffering the same pain as many people around him. Monk Ishio, Sun Jian, and Wan Yinyang all had pained expressions. "Don't look at that blood-colored flower," Lin Feng said in a low voice. Hearing this, the three of them quickly looked away. Only then did they feel much better. The rest of the people also shifted their gazes away from the blood-red flower. Only then did the pain in their souls disappear. Someone asked, "Elder Zhao, what kind of flower is that? Why is it so demonic?" Zhao Kuo replied, "To be able to create such a terrifying illusion. If my guess is correct, this should be the resurrection lily." When they heard the words Primeval flower, everyone's expression suddenly changed. Lin Feng's heart trembled slightly. He suddenly thought of a saying. Yin and Yang are separated by the netherworld. The Yellow Springs River buries vengeful souls. The banks are often accompanied by Primeval flowers, and the flowers are adorned with ghost spirit grass. This saying mentioned that Primeval flowers grew on both sides of the Yellow Springs River, and the flowers were adorned with ghost spirit grass. It was a flower from the netherworld. It was a flower of death. It was not some immortal medicine of immortality. Primeval flowers? Isn't that a flower that blooms in the netherworld? Why would it appear here? Someone said with an uncertain expression. The appearance of a Primeval flower in the Wu Yuan Immortal Manor was too strange, and it made many people feel uneasy. That's not something that anyone knows, Zhao said. Lin Feng could not help but frown slightly. He felt that Zhao was a little mysterious. Most importantly, Lin Feng felt that Zhao was not telling the truth about the Primeval flower. But since Zhao was unwilling to talk about it, Lin Feng naturally would not reveal it. Look, that Primeval flower is disappearing. Someone pointed at the Primeval flower in the courtyard and shouted loudly. Everyone's gaze turned towards the Primeval flower. The Primeval flower swayed gently, but it was becoming more and more illusory. And as time passed, it became more and more illusory. The Primeval flower is a flower without roots. Not only can it appear in the netherworld, but it can also appear anywhere. However, in the world of the living, the place where the Primeval flower appeared must have been a place where a top-notch expert had fallen in the past. The demon lord's voice suddenly echoed in Lin Feng's mind. Lin Feng said, "Could it be because my Wu Yuan had fallen in the Wu Yuan Immortal Manor back then?" "That's unknown," the demon lord said. Lin Feng could not help but touch his chin. He felt that this was very likely. My Wu Yuan had fallen in the other world back then. Perhaps he had been injured, and then entered the Wu Yuan Immortal Manor. In the end, he had fallen in the Wu Yuan Immortal Manor, and his Wu Yuan Immortal Manor had been taken back to the 9 states. Lin Feng stared at the Primeval flower. The Primeval flower was gradually disappearing from his sight. In the end, it had completely disappeared. Following the disappearance of the Primeval flower, the restriction that enveloped the courtyard began to disperse. Some people began to collect the storage rings of the dead cultivators. These dead cultivators had also obtained many treasures before. Now, the storage rings on their bodies were ownerless. This caused a lot of people to fight over them. Lin Feng and the other 3 stood in place without moving. They looked on indifferently as the people around them fought over the storage rings of the dead cultivators. After the battle ended, the storage rings of the dead cultivators were also snatched clean. At this time, the restriction that enveloped the courtyard also disappeared. Many people rushed into the courtyard to snatch the spirit herbs in the courtyard. Lin Feng and the others also joined in. Lin Feng saw a blood-colored ginseng. This blood ginseng contained a vast amount of qi and blood. He did not know how long it had lived. He went straight for the blood ginseng. 5 or 6 cultivators joined forces to attack Lin Feng, wanting to snatch the blood ginseng. However, they were all repelled by Lin Feng. He had successfully obtained the blood god. Suddenly, a scream rang out. A cultivator's body turned pitch black, as if he had been poisoned. After a scream, he fell to the ground and died. Chapter 2002. Everyone's expression changed when they saw the cultivator suddenly fall to the ground and die. They quickly came to the cultivator's side and carefully examined his corpse. Could it be that this little bug killed him? Someone pointed at a small bug on the ground. It was a pitch-black venomous bug. The corpse was very hard. It seemed to have died a long time ago. The cultivator had died because when he was pulling out a spirit herb, he brought out a venomous bug from the soil. His hand accidentally touched the venomous bug. He immediately died. Lin Feng walked over, took out a porcelain bottle, and put the dead venomous bug inside. There were other cultivators who were interested in the venomous bug, but when they saw that Lin Feng had beaten them to it, they could only give up. Soon, everyone dispersed and continued walking deeper into the cave. Lin Feng put the venomous bug into his mountain river ring. Croak, croak. After sensing the venomous bug's aura, the white jade toad let out an excited cry. The white jade toad removed the stopper of the porcelain bottle and suddenly sucked in. The white jade toad immediately absorbed the venomous gas contained in the bug. To Lin Feng's surprise, the white jade toad only absorbed some of the venomous gas. The white jade toad's body immediately turned pitch black. When he saw this scene, he could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. Wasn't the venomous bug's venom too terrifying? It actually turned the white jade toad's body pitch black. It was no wonder that the cultivator had died immediately after touching the venomous bug. This venom, it was not something that an ordinary person could resist. Everyone continued walking deeper into the cave. Before long, Lin Feng and the others arrived outside a palace. The palace's door was tightly shut, and some cultivators were breaking the restrictions on the door. Monkey Shio said, "Do you think this martial origin immortal mansion has an artifact spirit?" Lin Feng nodded and said, "It's very likely that it exists. I'm guessing that the entire Wu Yuan immortal mansion itself is a powerful magic treasure. However, for a magic treasure like the Wu Yuan immortal mansion, the weapon spirit would usually find a new owner for the immortal mansion. Therefore, even if there really is an item spirit, it generally won't appear unless someone is recognized as the new owner of the immortal mansion by the item spirit." Monk Ishio nodded and said, "I wonder if any of the people who have entered the Wu Yuan immortal mansion will be able to obtain this opportunity." This was an enormous opportunity. Whoever obtained such an opportunity would not simply obtain an immortal mansion. He might even be able to obtain my Wu Yuan's legacy. That was the inheritance of an immortal. For these cultivators in the God realm, they didn't know what to do. Great emperors were lofty and unreachable figures, not to mention the fleeting immortal. Rumble, rumble, rumble. A series of loud noises could be heard. The restriction on the door had been broken. At this moment, many people were trying to open the door. Finally, the door was completely pushed open. Everyone looked towards the depths of the palace. They realized that it was pitch black inside. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Suddenly, balls of light rose into the air. Then, those balls of light shot out like lightning. Before many people could react, those balls of light had already flown out. The aura of the immortal's origin. Those balls of light contain the immortal's origin. One of the island owners exclaimed, "Quick, quick, grab those immortal's origin." Many people cried out in alarm. They hurriedly made their move, wanting to collect the immortal's origin. However, the immortal's origin was simply too fast. By the time these cultivators regained their senses, the immortal's origin had already rushed out of the Wu Yuan immortal mansion. Quick, chase. Everyone quickly chased after him. The immortal's origin was even more precious than immortal chi. This was because the immortal's origin had a trace of the immortal Tao's origin energy. If a cultivator could obtain it and then refine it, then their cultivation would increase tremendously. Therefore, everyone naturally would not let the immortal's origin escape. Whoosh, 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 one by one. The cultivators quickly rushed outside. There were also cultivators who entered the depths of the palace to see if there were any other treasures. However, they found that the palace was empty. They could not find anything. These cultivators quickly rushed outside to search for the immortal's origin that had flown out first. After Lin Feng rushed out of the Wu Yuan immortal mansion, he locked onto one of the immortal's origin and quickly chased after it. Monkey Xiao, Sun Jian, and Wanyan Yang also locked onto their targets and quickly chased after them. There were not many immortals' origin, only about 80 to 90 of them. These immortals' origin seemed to have spirituality. If they were too slow, they might not be able to catch up to these immortals' origin. Lin Feng chased for hundreds of miles before he finally caught up to the immortal's origin. Then, he took out a confinement magnetic field and imprisoned the immortal's origin. Then, he sealed the immortal's origin. After obtaining the first immortal's origin, Lin Feng did not stop at all. He flew above the sea and searched for the whereabouts of the immortal's origin. Because this place was densely covered with illusion arrays, it was very easy to get lost in it. Therefore, many cultivators who were chasing after the immortal's origin would easily fall into the illusion arrays and be unable to extricate themselves. However, these illusion arrays did not have much effect on Lin Feng. He flew quickly in the sea that was surrounded by illusion arrays. Soon after, he saw the second immortal's origin. Then, he quickly chased after it. In the end, Lin Feng obtained a total of 5 immortals' origin. After obtaining the 5th immortal's origin, he searched many places but was unable to find any more immortals' origin. He did not know if the rest of the immortals' origin had been obtained by others or if they had already left the sea that was surrounded by illusion arrays. However, Lin Feng was very satisfied to be able to obtain 5 immortals' origin. He found Monk Ishio, Sun Jian, and Wanyan Yang and asked them about their gains. Monk Ishio and Sun Jian had obtained 2 immortals' origin. Wanyan Yang had obtained an immortal's origin. Their gains were also quite good. We can't stay here for long. Let's go. Lin Feng took out the ancient starship Xianyuan and everyone boarded it. Then, the ancient starship Xianyuan leaped into the void and left. There might be other opportunities in the martial origin immortal manner, but Lin Feng and the others did not intend to continue fighting for those opportunities. Whoever was willing to take them could take them. Their gains from this trip to the martial origin immortal manner were already great enough. The ancient starship sailed in the endless sea. Lin Feng sat cross-legged and was refining the immortal's origin. After refining the immortal's origin, Lin Feng's cultivation level quickly reached the peak of the divine fire realm. Then, Lin Feng began to break through to the true God realm. Chapter 2003. It was naturally not an easy task to break through to the true God realm. Especially for Lin Feng, his savings were too huge. Such a huge amount of savings. It gave him combat strength that far exceeded his own level. However, it also made every breakthrough dozens, hundreds, or even hundreds of times more difficult than others. It might be easier to break through a small realm, but it would be extremely difficult to break through to a major realm. However, this time, Lin Feng obtained 5 immortal origins. These 5 immortal origins contain the energy of the immortal Tao origins. And the energy of these immortal Tao origins was enough to support Lin Feng's cultivation to break through. After refining the 5 immortal origins consecutively, Lin Feng's dermic powers finally completed the transformation. Not only did his dermic powers complete the transformation, but even the divine fire laws in his body had also transformed into true God laws. His lifespan had increased to 30 million years, and his soul power and physical strength had also greatly improved. This kind of breakthrough to a major realm and the improvement of one's cultivation were in all aspects. Every breakthrough was destined to bring about a qualitative leap. It was exactly the same as what Lin Feng was experiencing now. Rumble. Dark clouds covered the 9 heavens above. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Lightning dragons and snakes swam in the sea of lightning. It was as if the end of the world had arrived. A breakthrough to a major realm was usually accompanied by a lightning tribulation, and this time was no exception. Every time Lin Feng broke through a major realm, the lightning tribulation that descended was abnormally terrifying. Breaking through to the void God realm, a minor creation tribulation descended. This was a lightning tribulation that many cultivators would face when breaking through to the celestial God realm. And when breaking through to the divine fire realm, Lin Feng attracted an even more terrifying creation tribulation. This lightning tribulation was even more terrifying. It was a lightning tribulation that many cultivators could only attract when they were breaking through to the giant God realm. Now, Lin Feng was about to break through to the true God realm. Obviously, the lightning tribulation this time would be even more terrifying. The sea of lightning stretched as far as the eye could see. Between heaven and earth, there was complete silence. Leave the center of the lightning tribulation. I'm going to transcend the tribulation. Lin Feng's glabella flickered with a terrifying tribulation light. His lightning tribulation would descend at any time. As soon as Lin Feng's voice fell, he flew out of the ancient starship Xianyuan. As for Monk Ishio, Sun Zhan, and Wanyan Yang, they boarded the ancient starship Xianyuan and flew away from the center of the lightning tribulation. Boom! Boom! Bolts of tribulation lightning struck down. Lin Feng took a step forward and swung his fist towards the lightning tribulation. Bang, bang, bang! Along with the sound of violent collisions, the Kulpa thunders were destroyed by Lin Feng one after another. The shattered lightning tribulation laws were directly devoured by him. These thunder tribulation laws began to temper Lin Feng's body. Every breakthrough of a major realm was an excellent opportunity to temper one's physical body. Lin Feng would not let go of such a good opportunity to temper his body. Lin Feng's body was blasted to pieces by the power of the thunder tribulation law. However, with the help of the immortal divine body, his physical body was recovering rapidly. It was replaced by destruction and restoration. His physical body grew stronger and stronger. 999 bolts of tribulation lightning struck down consecutively, but they were still unable to destroy Lin Feng. The lightning tribulation did not seem to have any intention of dispersing. High in the sky, an even more powerful lightning tribulation was brewing. Heavens! Master has already transcended 999 bolts of tribulation lightning. Why hasn't the tribulation dissipated? How many bolts of tribulation lightning will descend before Master can successfully transcend the tribulation? Wanyan could not help but exclaim. His face was filled with shock. Sunjan said in a deep voice, "Could it be a minor reincarnation tribulation?" Monk Ishio was slightly startled. If it's a minor reincarnation tribulation, then there will be a total of 1,508 bolts of tribulation lightning. This is the tribulation lightning that will only descend when one breaks through to the quasi-emperor realm. High in the sky, an even more powerful fluctuation was transmitted. More and more terrifying lightning tribulations were brewing. A minor reincarnation tribulation. There were a total of 1,508 bolts of tribulation lightning. With so many bolts of tribulation lightning descending, it was simply despairing. Since ancient times, who knew how many talented people there were? They had all died under a minor reincarnation tribulation. Originally, Monk Ishio, Sunjan, and Wanyan thought that Lin Feng would be undergoing a major creation tribulation. They did not expect that Lin Feng would be undergoing an even more terrifying minor reincarnation tribulation. The expressions of the three of them turned solemn. They knew how terrifying a minor reincarnation tribulation was. Lin Feng had only just broken through to the true God realm. He was actually undergoing a minor reincarnation tribulation. Wasn't it too difficult? Boom, boom. Bolts of tribulation lightning came crashing down one after another. The power was simply earth-shattering. It was truly shocking. The power that could destroy the heavens shook the void. Countless bolts of tribulation lightning came crashing down, drowning Lin Feng. Monk Ishio, Sunjan, Wanyan, and the others looked toward the center of the lightning tribulation. They could not see anything. They could only see the endless lightning that sealed the world. It was as if the end of the world had arrived. Everyone turned pale with fright. Lin Feng blocked the bolts of tribulation lightning one after another. There was an army formed by the power of the lightning tribulation. There was an indestructible will left behind by the foreign realm god. There were even 9 the archphantoms attacking at the same time. Each bolt of tribulation lightning was more terrifying than the previous one. Lin Feng found it extremely difficult to resist the lightning tribulation that followed. His body was torn into pieces, and his bones were exposed. He was in a miserable state. Fortunately, Lin Feng's immortal divine body was strong enough. It gradually healed his severely injured body. The bolts of tribulation lightning could not kill Lin Feng. Suddenly, amidst the endless lightning tribulation, figures appeared one after another. They stood amidst the lightning tribulation, but they were not harmed by the lightning tribulation. This is the human tribulation. Someone was chosen by the lightning tribulation and turned into a terrifying human tribulation to kill Lin Feng. Kid, it seems like you can't hold on any longer. The scarlet fire scorpion laughed sinisterly. His eyes were filled with a dense killing intent. Lin Feng knew all the cultivators who came to kill Lin Feng. Qi Lian Fire Scorpion from Fire Scorpion Island. Lung Qianxue from Evil Dragon Island. Wan Qingtsong from Luosan Island. Among the 3 island masters, Qi Lian Fire Scorpion and Lung Qianxue had a grudge against Lin Feng. As for Wan Qingtsong, Lin Feng did not have much interaction with him, let alone a grudge. However, this person chose to deal with him together with Qi Lian Fire Scorpion and Lung Qianxue. Lin Feng guessed that this person should be allies with Qi Lian Fire Scorpion and Lung Qianxue. They would work together to kill him. They would also be able to obtain endless wealth. An ancient inheritance. Why not do it? Apart from Qi Lian Fire Scorpion, Lung Qianxue, and Wan Qingtsong, there were 10 other experts. These 10 people should be from Fire Scorpion Island, Evil Dragon Island, and Luosan Island. A total of 13 experts besieged him. In Qi Lian Fire Scorpion's opinion, Lin Feng would definitely die today. Chapter 2004. Lin Feng coldly glanced at Qi Lian Fire Scorpion and the others. He didn't find it strange that a terrifying human tribulation would appear during a tribulation. He said with an indifferent expression, "A bunch of reckless fools. I think you're all here to die." As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng actually took the initiative to rush towards Qi Lian Fire Scorpion. Seeing Lin Feng, who was riddled with wounds and whose aura was chaotic, it was obvious that he was seriously injured. He actually dared to take the initiative to rush towards them. Many people became angry. Wasn't he looking down on them? He was simply courting death. "Attack! Kill this brat!" Qi Lian Fire Scorpion shouted in a deep voice. He waved his hand and took the lead to attack Lin Feng. The rest of the people also pounced towards Lin Feng. "Not good. It's Qi Lian Fire Scorpion and the others. Let's go and help." Wan Yinyang and the others also saw the situation here in the distance. Wan Yinyang couldn't help but anxiously shout. Monk Ishio said, "The lightning tribulation hasn't dissipated, and a strong enemy is attacking. This is a human tribulation. We can't help it all because as long as we get close to the center of the lightning tribulation, we will be attacked by the lightning tribulation. We might even attract our own lightning tribulation in advance. The best thing to do now is to wait and see." Sun Jian nodded and said, "That's right. Since the human tribulation is also a type of lightning tribulation in the minor reincarnation tribulation, we don't need to worry at all. With Lord's ability, he will definitely be able to safely pass through this tribulation." Although they said that, they were actually very worried about Lin Feng. After all, the cultivators besieging Lin Feng were a group of experts. They were very powerful. 13 experts rushed over, and Lin Feng took the lead to use the confinement magnetic field. The surrounding void. It was as if it had been imprisoned. The confinement magnetic field couldn't completely imprison the 13 experts, but the power of the confinement magnetic field still greatly reduced the speed of the 13 experts. Lin Feng's speed was increased by the confinement magnetic field. Under this situation, his speed was extremely fast. After dodging the attacks of the 13 experts, he instantly arrived behind the nine-tailed demon scorpion and punched towards it. "How dare you!" Qi Lian Fire Scorpion couldn't help but roar when he saw this scene. The nine-tailed demon scorpion didn't even have time to react. The next moment, bang! His head was blown apart by Lin Feng's punch. He died on the spot. "This brat is too fast. Use the formation to trap him," Long Qianxue said. Those who had cultivated to their level would usually have practiced array formations. The only difference was that some of them had a more thorough understanding of formations, and their standards were very high. Some of them didn't study array formations much, so their standards were average. Among these experts, Qi Lian Huoxie, Long Qianxue, and Wan Qingcong all had high attainments in formations. The three of them continuously changed their hand seals. Array runes intertwined in the void. They wanted to seal the void with an array formation. Lin Feng had an indifferent expression on his face. When the three top-notch experts unleashed their formation to seal the void, he quickly rushed towards the Scarlet Fire Scorpion. He wanted to use this opportunity to kill the Scarlet Flame Scorpion first. "Stop him!" the double-winged scorpion shouted, and the other 8 cultivators charged towards Lin Feng. They naturally knew that they couldn't let Lin Feng ruin their plan to break the formation. Once the plan was ruined, it would be very troublesome. Because Lin Feng's speed was too fast, their speed was affected. Therefore, if they couldn't restrict Lin Feng's movements, it would be too difficult to kill Lin Feng. Stone Ape watching the sea of clouds. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent as he directly unleashed this powerful half-immortal technique. An illusory world descended. The stone ape sat in front of the sea of clouds and looked into the distance. This illusory world descended from the sky and suppressed towards the 9 experts. Although these 9 people's cultivation was not bad, the strongest was only a 10th firmament celestial god. They had yet to enter the ancestor level. Therefore, the threat was smaller, and it was easier to kill. "Break!" The 9 experts shouted coldly and punched towards the illusory world descending from the sky. But now, Lin Feng was almost equivalent to breaking through to the true god realm. His combat strength had increased by God knows how many times. What he cast was also a half-immortal technique, level top divine ability. How powerful and terrifying was the power! The 9 great celestial deity realm cultivators were not able to block this attack of Lin Feng's at all. Bang, bang, bang. One celestial deity realm powerhouse after another was swept flying. vomiting large mouthfuls of blood in midair. 8 trigrams diagram. Lin Feng gave a cold cry, his body catapulting out. He turned into an 8 trigrams diagram. In the void, he lightly slashed. Poowork, poowork, poowork. Tearing sounds came out one after another. One powerhouse after another had their bodies directly torn apart, dying miserably on the spot. Not good. This boy is savage. Quickly retreat. The rest's expressions changed drastically. But when the 8 trigrams diagram flew over, no one could block Lin Feng's attack. Poowork, poowork. One celestial deity realm cultivator after another continued to be chopped in half by the 8 trigrams diagram that Lin Feng turned into. In a blink of an eye, the 9 great celestial deity realm powerhouses were all cut down. Kid, you're courting death. After Qi Lian Fire Scorpion, Long Qian Shui, and Wan Qingcong successfully set up the formation, they discovered that all of their subordinates were killed. All of them were furious and charged towards Lin Feng. Today, I'll let you know how powerful I am. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He began to prepare a new divine ability. This time, Lin Feng directly used 3 divine abilities. Stone Ape watching the Sea of Clouds. The first part of the Great Reincarnation Art, Ancient Times, Billions of Years. Sovereign's Judgment. These 3 divine abilities, each one was mysterious and unfathomable. They charged towards Qi Lian Fire Scorpion, Long Qian Shui, and Wan Qingcong respectively. Bang! The 4 people's attacks collided. Qi Lian Fire Scorpion, Long Qian Shui, and Wan Qingcong were all sent flying. 3-tasking. The 3 powerhouses roared in disbelief. 3-tasking was equivalent to one person becoming 3 people. To be able to use 3 divine abilities at the same time against the enemy. They never thought that Lin Feng actually had the ability to do 3 things at once. This greatly exceeded their expectations. My body. Immediately after, Long Qian Shui screamed in horror. Because his body was aging, his strength was also weakening. It's the Great Reincarnation Art. Qi Lian Fire Scorpion and Wan Qingcong sucked in a breath of cold air. The Great Reincarnation Art was simply too overbearing. It deprived one's lifespan and strength. It made the person who was hit instantly become old. Strength weakening. Once hit, the situation would be very bad. Go to hell. Lin Feng shouted coldly and quickly charged towards Long Qian Shui. He was hit by the Great Reincarnation Art and was at his weakest. At this moment, it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to kill Long Qian Shui. Brother Long, hold him back. Let's work together to kill him. Seeing Lin Feng charging towards Long Qian Shui and Qi Lian Fire Scorpion, Wan Qingcong's face suddenly revealed a look of joy. Circle prison. Long Qian Shui suddenly shouted and used an extremely terrifying divine ability. His right hand drew a circle in front of him. This circle enveloped Lin Feng. In an instant, Lin Feng was trapped inside. This was the circle prison. It could trap a person to death in this prison. Qi Lian Fire Scorpion and Wan Qingcong's expressions were greatly shaken. They shot up and used a heaven-defying punch, sweeping towards Lin Feng. They wanted to directly kill Lin Feng. Chapter 2005. Haha, kid. It's time for you to die. Next year. Today will be your death anniversary. Qi Lian Fire Scorpion and Wan Qingcong laughed proudly. Lin Feng was trapped by Long Qian Shui's prison circle. In their opinion, Lin Feng was like a turtle in a jar. He couldn't escape. Not good. Monkey Xiao, Sun Jian, and Wan Yanyang's expressions changed when they saw this scene. Now that Lin Feng was in danger, their expressions turned solemn. Seeing that the attack was about to kill him, just as it was about to hit Lin Feng. Swish. Suddenly, there was a flash of light. Lin Feng disappeared without a trace. Meanwhile, the attacks of the Crimson Fire Scorpion and Wan Qingcong all missed. Lin Feng used the heaven patching technique. He borrowed another chance from the heavens. He successfully dodged the attack. Then, he came behind Long Qian Shui and punched him. The reason why he chose to attack Long Qian Shui was that he had been hit by the ancient time rush for billions of years. Now that his body was old, his battle strength had decreased sharply. It was a good opportunity to kill him. If Long Qian Shui recovered, it wouldn't be so easy to kill him. Long Qian Shui felt the terrifying aura behind him and was shocked. He turned around and punched. Bang! Long Qian Shui and Lin Feng's punches collided. Crack! Crack! After taking Lin Feng's powerful punch, Long Qian Shui's arm was broken. Long Qian Shui was horrified and wanted to retreat. But at this time, Lin Feng had already used the Emperor Runes. The Emperor Runes wrapped around Long Qian Shui's body, preventing him from retreating. Lin Feng rushed forward and punched Long Qian Shui. Bang! Long Qian Shui's body exploded. He was killed by Lin Feng. Go! Seeing this, Qi Lian Fire Scorpion and Wan Qingsong's expressions changed. They didn't expect Lin Feng to be so powerful. At this moment, how could they have the courage to fight with Lin Feng? He turned around and fled. They tore apart the magnetic field, turned into two streams of light, and quickly fled into the distance. It wasn't easy for an ancestor-level powerhouse to escape and keep them here. Not to mention that Lin Feng was still undergoing his tribulation. He's been pushed back. Wang Yinyang let out a long sigh. Sun Jian said, "Amazing. Truly amazing. Your Excellency is already so powerful now. In the future, following the advancement of your realm, I really don't know what kind of shocking degree your Excellency's battle prowess will reach." Monk Ishio said, "Brother Lin's accumulation is too great to be able to possess such combat strength. That's to be expected. However, with such a powerful accumulation, as his cultivation increases, it will become more and more difficult for him to break through." Wang Yinyang and Sun Jian nodded. It was exactly as Monk Ishio had said. As his cultivation base continued to rise, it would be even more difficult for Lin Feng to break through. Boom, boom, boom. Above the 9 heavens, streaks of lightning tribulations fell from the sky. The power was simply enough to destroy the world. Lin Feng let out a long howl and charged towards the lightning tribulation, fighting it head-on. 32 consecutive bolts of lightning struck down. Finally, he withstood all the lightning tribulations of the minor reincarnation tribulation. The power of true God law descended from the sky one after another. All of them were devoured and refined by Lin Feng. The sea of lightning in the sky. It also began to dissipate. Not long after. Then, it became a clear blue sky with a boundless blue sky. And Lin Feng's cultivation base also finally broke through to the first firmament of true God realm. Following this breakthrough, his physical body and soul also received a great improvement. Originally, Lin Feng's physical body level was equivalent to the middle giant God realm's physical body level. Now, it was equivalent to the late giant God realm's physical body level. Originally, Lin Feng's soul force stopped at the second firmament of celestial God realm. Now, it rose to the 5th firmament of celestial God realm. Congratulations, Brother Lin, for breaking through. Congratulations, Master, for breaking through. Congratulations, Your Excellency, for breaking through. Monk Ishio, Wang Yinyang, and Sun Jian flew over on the Xinyuan ancient starship. The three of them congratulated Lin Feng again and again. Lin Feng smiled and said, "This time, it's all thanks to the immortal origin that I obtained. After you guys refine the immortal origin, your cultivation base will also be greatly improved. It's not good to stay here for long. Let's go." The four of them boarded the Xinyuan ancient starship. Then, they quickly left. Along the way, Monk Ishio, Sun Jian, and Wang Yinyang also refined the immortal origin that they obtained. Everyone's cultivation base received a significant improvement. Monk Ishio was also a genius. He was very powerful, but his realm was actually not high. Previously, he was only the second firmament of true God realm. Geniuses could challenge those of a higher realm. Just like Lin Feng, Monk Ishio was also the same. After refining the immortal's origin, Monk Ishio's cultivation base rose to the 6th firmament of true God realm, and Wang Yinyang's cultivation base rose from the 3rd firmament of celestial God realm to the 5th firmament of celestial God realm. As a member of the heavenly mark beast race, Wang Yinyang's talent was also very powerful. It was just that he had yet to awaken the heavenly mark beast race's ancestral blood. Once he awakened it, who knew how many times his combat strength would increase by? Sun Jian's cultivation base was still at the quasi-giant God realm. He was still accumulating his cultivation base and was not in a hurry to break through. The more he accumulated before breaking through, the stronger he would be. After breaking through, the stronger his combat strength would be. Lin Feng was a living example. 10 days later, the Xinyuan ancient starship returned to the Dragon Gate Island. After returning, Lin Feng asked Sun Jian and Wan Yinyang to lead the army to attack the evil Dragon Island. Now, the evil Dragon Island's island lord, Lung Qianxue, had fallen. The army was leaderless. Their strength was greatly reduced. It was a good opportunity to take over the evil Dragon Island in one fell swoop. Lin Feng even sent out his God Realm clone to drive the Xinyuan ancient starship. Under the lead of the Xinyuan ancient starship, the fleet of the Dragon Gate Island sailed towards the evil Dragon Island. Soon, a great battle that shocked the ancient, desolate sea region erupted. This battle could be said to be incomparably tragic. The fierce battle lasted for 3 days and 3 nights. The evil Dragon Island was conquered. Other than a portion of people who escaped, most of them were killed. A portion of people who surrendered became slaves. The news of the evil Dragon Island's destruction quickly spread throughout the ancient, desolate sea region. Countless people were moved by this news. Many rogue cultivators came to join the Buddhist sect when they saw how powerful it was. Sun Jian was temporarily stationed on the evil Dragon Island. He was consolidating the territory of the evil Dragon Island and the various resources it possessed. As for Wan Yinyang, he led a portion of the army to escort the captured slaves back to the Dragon Gate Island. After returning, Wan Yinyang reported to Lin Feng about the battle. Lin Feng was quite satisfied with this battle. After reporting, Wan Yinyang said, "Master, a female slave asked me to bring a message to you. She hopes to meet you, Master." "What female slave?" Lin Feng raised his eyebrows. "She seems to be from the evil dragon tribe." Wan Yinyang said, "Bring her here." Chapter 2006. Lin Feng looked at the tall woman in front of him. The woman in front of him was very tall, about 185 meters tall. She had a pair of long legs. The average height of a woman was about 1.6 meters. A height of 1.7 meters was considered relatively tall among women. There were women who were as tall as the woman in front of him. However, they were still not common. Of course, although she was tall, she was not the tall and muscular type. Instead, she was slender and enchanting. While Lin Feng was observing her, she was also observing Lin Feng. She did not show any fear. "Aren't you afraid of me?" Lin Feng looked at her with interest. "Why should I be afraid of you?" the woman asked. Lin Feng asked, "What's your name?" "Lung Rui." The woman said, "Rui, that's a good name. I heard from Wan Yinyang that you wanted to see me. Why do you want to see me?" Lin Feng asked indifferently. "I want to discuss a collaboration with you," Lung Rui said. "A collaboration? You're just a slave now. Do you think you have the right to talk about collaboration with me?" Lin Feng said indifferently. Lung Rui said, "Even though you've conquered the evil Flood Dragon Island, the evil Flood Dragon Island controls such a large territory and has so many connections that they need people to manage them. Of course, you can send your subordinates to take over the territory and resources that the evil Flood Dragon Island controls, but your subordinates will need a long time to familiarize themselves with the territory and resources. Moreover, during this time, it's very easy for other things to happen, such as other islands wanting a share of the pie. Of course, the most important thing is that many of the connections that originally belonged to Evil Serpent Island aren't something your subordinates can handle. If you give me this task, I can quickly gather the resources that originally belonged to Evil Serpent Island. It'll be very difficult for other islands to interfere. Moreover, I'm a member of Evil Serpent Island. If I contact the various connections of Evil Serpent Island, those people will at least give me some face and won't cut off these connections. You must know that in order to run a huge force in the sea, connections and resources are very important. Sometimes, connections are even more important than territory." Lin Feng said indifferently, "Why would I give such an important position to a member of the evil Wyrm tribe? Wouldn't I be raising a tiger and inviting calamity?" Lung Rui said, "Although I'm a member of the evil dragon tribe, I have a deep hatred for Lung Qianxue. Originally, the evil Dragon Island's owner belonged to my tribe. Later, my father was killed by Lung Qianxue. Although Long Chinchue claimed that my father died in an accident when he went out, my father sent me a message before he died, which let me know the real reason for his death. All these years, I've been waiting for a chance to take revenge. You killed Long Chinchue, so you're my benefactor. Lin Feng asked, should I believe you? Lung Rui said, I'm telling the truth. If I'm lying to you, I'll die a horrible death. Lin Feng nodded and said, since that's the case, I'll leave the evil Dragon Island to you. As for the slaves on the island, I'll leave them to you as well. You can decide who to keep and who to kill. Thank you. Lung Rui bowed to Lin Feng. All right, you may leave, Lin Feng said. Lung Rui nodded and left. Wan Yin asked, Master, can this woman be trusted? She should be. Even if she isn't, it doesn't matter. In any case, she's already a slave of the Dragon Gate Island. What can she do? Lin Feng sneered. Not long after, Long Rui represented the evil dragon tribe and declared their loyalty to Lin Feng. The evil Dragon Island also joined the Dragon Gate and became an island under their jurisdiction. This matter caused a huge commotion in the ancient Desolate Sea region. Everyone was discussing this matter in private. During this time, more and more experts joined the Dragon Gate. The Dragon Gate army finally reached 10,000 members. The Purgatory Assassin organization, which was under Butterfly's control, also reached 4,000 members. Lung Rui was still very capable. In just a month, she managed to stabilize the situation on the evil Dragon Island. After the Dragon Gate army, Lin Feng formed a new army called the Burning Blood Army. Sun Jian was appointed as the commander of the Burning Blood Army. The new cultivators who joined the Dragon Gate would be added to the Burning Blood Army. After resting for 1.5 months, the Dragon Gate army set off again. This time, they headed straight for the Fire Scorpion Island. At the same time, the evil Dragon Island also had a 30,000-man army. They also headed for the Fire Scorpion Island. Although the 30,000-man army of the evil Dragon Island was far from being comparable to an elite army like the Dragon Gate army. However, compared to the armies of the other islands, they were not weak. The 40,000-man army besieged the Fire Scorpion Island. The battle lasted for half a month before the Fire Scorpion Island was finally conquered. The Crimson Fire Scorpion Island fled. The remaining people either died in battle or became captives. The Dragon Gate's successive conquest of the evil Dragon Island and the Fire Scorpion Island caused panic on many islands. This was because these islands were worried that they would be the next to be attacked. Lin Feng personally made a statement. In the statement, he stated that he had no intention of conquering other islands. The reason he attacked the evil Dragon Island and the Fire Scorpion Island was because of Long Chinchue. The Scarlet Fire Scorpion besieged him when he was breaking through and wanted to take his life. This was why he attacked. After hearing Lin Feng's explanation, the rest of the people on the other islands felt relieved. Lin Feng also mentioned Luosan Island in the statement. He also mentioned that he would be conquering Luosan Island next. This was because the island master of Luosan Island, Wan Qingcong, was also involved in this matter. The cultivators on Luosan Island were anxious because the Dragon Gate army was too powerful. They were at least at the True God realm. Moreover, each of them was equipped with at least 3 divine artifacts. They were simply invincible. In the end, this battle did not happen. This was because Wan Qingcong personally came to see Lin Feng. He was willing to submit to Lin Feng. Lin Feng also accepted Wan Qingcong's submission. The Dragon Gate had successively subdued the evil Dragon Island, the Fire Scorpion Island, and the Luosan Island. Their strength had greatly increased. The cultivators who joined the Dragon Gate, there were more and more of them. This made Lin Feng very satisfied. On this day, the ancient starship Xinyuan set off from the Dragon Gate. Lin Feng planned to head to the Gu Evil sect. He brought along 5,000 experts from the Dragon Gate army and 3,000 experts from the Purgatory Assassin organization. Monkey Xiao and Wan Yin also traveled together. During this trip to the Gu Evil sect, Lin Feng hoped to find a way to resolve Li Yingdia's heart-biting venomous insect. With such a huge force, Lin Feng had enough confidence to negotiate with the Gu Evil sect, an ancient heretical sect. Chapter 2007. The Gu Evil sect was one of the top evil sects in the northern barbarian state. There were many experts in the sect. However, evil sects rarely interacted with the outside world. The same went for the Gu Evil sect. The Gu Evil sect was located in the Gu Evil mountain range. The mountain range was named after the Gu Evil sect. It was surrounded by dense primitive forests for thousands of miles. Danger lurked everywhere in the primitive forests. Not only were there powerful beasts, but there were also many terrifying poisonous insects. It was easy to die in there. The Xinyuan ancient starship flew in the ancient forest. When it arrived outside the Gu Evil sect, it saw many cultivators gathered there. These cultivators were probably here to learn from a master. If a large sect like the Gu Evil sect wanted to continue its legacy, it naturally needed to recruit new disciples. That was the only way it could continue its legacy. Lin Feng asked Wan Yin to bring the invitation to the Gu Evil sect. He would try peaceful means before resorting to force. If the Gu Evil sect was sincere about cooperating, everyone would be happy. It would save Lin Feng a lot of trouble. If the Gu Evil sect was unwilling to cooperate, Lin Feng could only force the Gu Evil sect to cooperate. Soon, Wan Yin returned with an ugly expression. Lin Feng asked calmly, "What did the Gu Evil sect say?" Wan Yin said, "The Gu Evil sect refused to cooperate with Master." "Why?" Lin Feng asked. "Because Master is a cultivator from the Reincarnation Immortal sect. It's a righteous sect. The Gu Evil sect is an evil sect. Righteous and evil cannot coexist. That's why they refuse to cooperate," Wan Yin said. After hearing Wan Yin's words, Lin Feng could not help but sneer. What era was this? Righteous and evil cannot coexist? He flew out of the Xinyuan ancient starship. Then, he shouted, "I'm Lin Feng. I'm the leader of the ancient, desolate sea region's dragon sect. I'm here to pay a visit to the Gu Evil sect's sect leader." This long howl startled everyone in all directions. The cultivators gathered in front of the Gu Evil sect's mountain gate discussed softly. Who was Lin Feng? They had never heard of him. However, since he was a cultivator from an overseas force, it seemed quite normal that he had not heard of it. It was normal for these ordinary people not to have heard of Lin Feng, but many people in the Gu Evil sect had heard of Lin Feng. Hearing that Lin Feng had come to visit the sect master, many people began to discuss. The disciples of the Reincarnation Celestial sect are quite capable. I didn't expect them to establish their own forces overseas. However, my Gu Evil sect does not welcome any righteous cultivators. Please leave quickly. A sneer could be heard from Gu Evil sect. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent as he stepped forward. He walked towards Gu Evil sect step by step. If you insist on not meeting me, then I can only barge into Gu Evil sect. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. Impudent. Gu Evil sect is not a place you can casually barge into. Take this kid down. The mysterious expert of the Gu Evil sect shouted coldly. Immediately, dozens of Gu Evil sect's experts flew towards Lin Feng. However, before they could even get close to Lin Feng, they were already unable to withstand the powerful aura surrounding Lin Feng. Thump, thump. Many people fell from the sky. This person is so powerful. Many cultivators outside Gu Evil sect were shocked. Sect guardian statues. The cold voice came from Gu Evil sect again. Next, stone statues flew out of Gu Evil sect one after another. These stone statues were all resurrected. Each statue emitted a shocking wave of energy. The strength of these guardian statues was extremely strong. There were a total of 72 statues, and all of them were in the heaven god realm. Leave quickly. Gu Evil sect will not make things difficult for you. Or else, we can only drive you out. The expert of Gu Evil sect said coldly. Lin Feng said, I came here with sincerity to discuss cooperation. It was supposed to be a mutually beneficial matter. However, your Gu Evil sect is so unreasonable. Since you insist on doing this, I will break into your Gu Evil sect today. Attack. As the cold voice came from Gu Evil sect, the 72 statues all slashed towards Lin Feng with huge swords. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent as he waved his hand. Swoosh, swoosh. One by one, the Emperor runes flew out like chains of order. Those Emperor runes, they were suppressed. In an instant, the stone statues were suppressed by Lin Feng. Good lad, you are indeed powerful. No wonder you dare to barge into my Gu Evil sect. The voice of the expert in Gu Evil sect suddenly sank. Then, a huge energy hand condensed. It charged towards Lin Feng. That huge energy hand contained a suffocating power. A huge energy hand condensed by a giant God Realm expert. Lin Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath. This Gu Evil sect. There was actually a giant god. This made him very surprised. These ancient sects of the 9 provinces' great world were indeed not to be underestimated. Stone Ape watching the sea of clouds. Lin Feng attacked and used this unparalleled unique skill to fight against the huge energy hand condensed in midair. Bang! The two attacks collided. In an instant, the sky shook and the earth shook. The two attacks were annihilated. Lin Feng was forced to retreat. You're actually able to withstand my attack? You have really surprised me. However, your realm is not enough. You are destined to be no match for me. That cold voice sounded once again. Lin Feng shouted coldly, "Where are the dragon sect cultivators?" Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The 5,000 cultivators of the Dragon Sect Army and 3,000 experts of the Purgatory Assassin Organization flew out from the ancient starship Xinyuan. 8,000 people gathered together. Powerful auras gathered together. Above them, the phantom of a huge dragon formed. Essence Chi Dragon. After seeing the Essence Chi Dragon, many people exclaimed in disbelief. In the secular world, when the army fought, the Essence Chi would condense together to form Essence Chi Smoke. However, this was the first time they had seen an Essence Chi Dragon. Lin Feng said indifferently, "Although your cultivation is powerful, I guess you have just broken through to the giant god realm not long ago, right? I, Lin Feng, am not a peerless expert, but I am confident that I can hold you back for some time. The Dragon Sect Army and the Purgatory Assassin Organization behind me are all at the true god realm. There are 8,000 of them, and each of them is equipped with at least 3 divine weapons. However, I don't know if the Gu Evil sect can withstand the attack of this army. Of course, I know that the Gu Evil sect has existed for a very long time and has a very strong foundation. Maybe you don't fear my subordinates, but have you ever thought about how many people from the Gu Evil sect will die once the war is over? Brat, you dare to threaten me?" The Gu Evil sect's expert's voice was filled with rage. He was a lofty giant god realm expert. Yet, he was being threatened. Moreover, the person who threatened him was a cultivator. Moreover, the person who threatened him was a junior cultivator. It made him feel extremely sullen. Lin Feng said indifferently, "I am not threatening you. I am just stating facts. Today, you are cooperating with me. If you want anything, just say the word, and I will do my best to satisfy you. If you don't want anything, I will owe you a favor. If you don't agree, then I have no other choice. There is only one battle. Your Excellency, please make your decision quickly." Chapter 2008. The Gu Evil sect's expert fell silent. He seemed to be thinking about the pros and cons of this situation. Finally, he said coldly, "Get your people to leave. Come in. We'll sit down and discuss this matter." "Master, don't. Be careful," Wan Yin said. "It's fine. A strong cultivator of the giant god layer isn't that shameless," said Lin Feng indifferently. Then, he ordered Wan Yin to leave with the Dragon Gate Army and the Purgatory Assassin Organization. He entered the Gu Evil sect with Monk Yi Xiao. Inside the Gu Evil sect, many disciples, deacons, and elders were looking at Lin Feng. Everyone had different expressions. Lin Feng was just a young cultivator. But now, the Gu Evil sect's sect master had no choice but to compromise. How many years had it been since the Gu Evil sect had interacted with righteous Dao cultivators? But now, this rule was about to be broken. Did you see that? This is strength. He has enough strength. It's enough to intimidate an ancient sect. An elder-level expert warned the Gu Evil sect's disciples. Many of the Gu Evil sect's disciples clenched their fists. Today's scene had greatly affected them. Lin Feng met the Gu Evil sect master in the living room. He was a middle-aged cultivator who looked to be in his 40s. However, his expression was not good. Lin Feng cupped his fists and said, "May I know how to address you, senior?" "Senior?" The middle-aged cultivator sneered. Am I a senior in your eyes? Lin Feng said, Senior, you've misunderstood me. I came to the Gu Evil sect to give you benefits. However, since you don't want them, I naturally have to think of a way to force them to you. Hearing Lin Feng's words, the middle-aged man had the urge to slap Lin Feng to death. He muttered in his heart, Why is this guy so shameless? However, he suppressed his anger and looked coldly at Lin Feng. Speak. Why have you come to the Gu Evil sect? I have a friend who is infected with the heart-devouring Gu. Can your Gu Evil sect cure her? Lin Feng asked. The middle-aged man said, Heart-biting Gu is the most terrible kind of Gu. It's also extremely difficult to detoxify. But whether it can be detoxified or not, I need to check the specific situation of your friend to know whether it can be detoxified. Lin Feng's heart became slightly heavy. The person in front of him was a powerhouse in the giant god realm, yet he was not confident that he could get rid of the heart-devouring insect's poison. It could be seen how overbearing the heart-devouring insect was. Lin Feng said, Senior Yu Lao, please come with me. Where are we going? The middle-aged man asked. The Sunset Immortal Sect. Lin Feng said, one of the top 10 immortal sects. For you to spend so much effort, it must be a woman. The middle-aged man said indifferently. Yes, Lin Feng said. I heard that you hooked up with a few fairies in the Reincarnation Immortal sect, and you're still flirting outside. Young people should restrain themselves. Otherwise, when you're older, you won't be able to do it. The middle-aged man said mockingly. Lin Feng smiled and said, Senior, it seems like you're very experienced. If your body can't take it anymore, I can prescribe a few tonics for you. I guarantee that you'll be as lively as a dragon and as lively as a tiger. Brat, what did you say? The middle-aged man almost jumped up and fought Lin Feng to the death. Man, how could he allow someone to mock him? However, the middle-aged man thought about it. Forget it. There was no need to bicker with a young cultivator. That would be beneath his dignity. I need to settle some matters in the sect. We'll head to the Sunset Immortal sect tomorrow. The middle-aged man said. Lin Feng said, No problem. Senior, you can think about what you need tonight. Feel free to ask. The middle-aged man said indifferently, I've already thought about it. I don't want anything, just a favor from you. Lin Feng nodded and said, All right, I'll owe you a favor then. Then, he left and returned to the ancient starship, the Xinyuan. The next day, the middle-aged man boarded the ancient starship, the Xinyuan. The ancient starship did not stay any longer. It soared into the sky and flew toward the Immortal Transformation Prefecture where the Sunset Immortal Sect was located. The Immortal Transformation Prefecture, one of the 9 prefectures. There were countless forces in the prefecture. However, the Sunset Immortal Sect was the most powerful force in the prefecture. The Sunset Immortal Sect was a force that had been passed down since the Immortal Ancient Era. Although the Sunset Immortal Sect was ranked at the bottom of the 10 great celestial sects, it was still a force to be reckoned with. However, the Sunset Immortal Sect's foundation was not something an ordinary force could compare to. Moreover, the sect master of the Sunset Immortal Sect was also a peak expert on the Supreme Leaderboard. His strength was unfathomable. The ancient starship, the Xinyuan, arrived at the Sunset Immortal Sect. The ancient starship stopped outside the Sunset Immortal Sect. Lin Feng flew out of the ancient starship and landed in front of the Sunset Immortal Sect. Halt your steps. The Sunset Immortal Sect. Unauthorized personnel are not allowed to trespass. A group of disciples flew over and blocked Lin Feng's path. I'm Lin Feng, a disciple of the Reincarnation Immortal Sect. I'm here to look for Li Yingdai. Lin Feng took out his identity token from the Reincarnation Immortal Sect. The Reincarnation Immortal Sect and the Sunset Immortal Sect had always had a good relationship. Therefore, when they heard that Lin Feng was a disciple of the Reincarnation Immortal Sect, their expressions lightened up. Lin Feng? You're that scum from the Reincarnation Immortal Sect? One of the Sunset Immortal Sect's disciples asked in confusion. Lin Feng was speechless. Which bastard was spreading rumors about him? Lin Feng said, Those are just rumors. Don't believe them. I'm a good person. The Sunset Immortal Sect's disciple saw how handsome and righteous Lin Feng was. He was a far cry from the despicable scum in the rumors. Therefore, he believed Lin Feng's words. Senior brother Lin, please wait for a moment. I'll send someone to inform junior sister Li Yingdai. The eldest disciple said after inspecting Lin Feng's identity token. Lin Feng nodded. The eldest disciple then sent someone to inform Li Yingdai. Then, he handed the identity token to Lin Feng. Since they were all disciples of the reincarnation immortal sect, they chatted casually. Lin Feng, on the other hand, tried to find out more about Duan Hongxiu. However, these disciples did not know much about Duan Hongxiu. Senior brother Lin. Not long after, Li Yingdai flew out with the eldest disciple. She was overjoyed when she saw Lin Feng. Lin Feng was also overjoyed when he saw Li Yingdai. However, he had a feeling that something was amiss. Was his meeting with Li Yingdai a little too smooth? Duan Hongxiu was a very controlling woman. Why would she allow Li Yingdai to meet him so easily? Could it be that he was lucky? Coincidentally, Duan Hongxiu was not in the sect? Or was she in seclusion? Chapter 2009. Junior Sister Li, come with me. I have something I need to tell you. Lin Feng signaled Li Yingdai with his eyes. Li Yingdai understood and bowed to the group of disciples before following Lin Feng. Where's Duan Hongxiu? Lin Feng asked. My master went out the day before yesterday. He's not in the sect. Li Yingdai said. This was similar to what Lin Feng had guessed. Lin Feng said, Junior sister, come with me. I've already thought of a way to cure your heart-devouring goo poison. Really? Li Yingdai asked in surprise. Of course. Lin Feng smiled and said, you'll regain your freedom very soon. You won't be controlled by Duan Hongxiu anymore. Thank you, senior brother. Li Yingdai said excitedly. Do you still need to thank me? Lin Feng reached out and patted Li Yingdai's head. Then, he and Li Yingdai returned to the ancient starship Xinyuan. When everyone saw Li Yingdai's charming and pitiful appearance, they finally understood why Lin Feng had gone to such great lengths to help her cure her heart-devouring goo poison. She was such a rare beauty. Any man would be willing to do anything for her. The sect master of the evil goo sect was called Wu Tianchong. During this time, Lin Feng had become quite familiar with him. He said, I've brought her here. Senior Wu, please take a look at her. Wu Tianchong said, sit down and circulate your cultivation technique. Yes, I'll have to trouble you, senior. Li Yingdai nodded, found a place to sit, and began circulating her cultivation technique. Wu Tianchong began to examine Li Yingdai's body. It took a full 2 hours for the inspection to be completed. Wu Tianchong said, this is a heart-devouring goo poison. Duan Hongxiu has some powerful heart-devouring goo poison, but it's a heart-devouring goo poison that has been lost for a long time. Lin Feng's expression became serious. A heart-devouring goo poison that has been lost for a long time? Does that mean there's no cure for this heart-devouring goo poison? If you came to me a year ago, there would be no cure. Indeed, there was no solution. But now that you've come to find me, you've come at the right time. Some time ago, I just found a Tao scripture in an ancient cave, and it introduced the method to cure this kind of poison. Wu Tianchong said. Hearing Wu Tianchong's words, Lin Feng and Li Yingdai were pleasantly surprised. Lin Feng said, then I'll have to trouble you, senior. Wu Tianchong said, don't be so happy just yet. I do know how to cure the goo, but it's extremely overbearing. It's called using goo to fight goo. It requires more than 700 types of goo poison to concoct a goo poison, and the victim has to stay inside for 3 days and 3 nights. If the victim is still alive after 3 days, the goo will be cured. What's the probability of survival? Lin Feng asked. 1%. Wu Tianchong said. Li Yingdai's pretty face turned pale. The probability of 1% was too low. Lin Feng's expression also became uncertain. Li Yingdai gritted her teeth and said, I'm willing to give it a try. Junior sister Li. Lin Feng looked at Li Yingdai. He saw determination in Li Yingdai's eyes, and he also saw the desire for freedom in them. Lin Feng said, I believe that you can cure the goo. No matter how painful it is, you must not despair. You must have confidence in yourself. Senior brother Lin, don't worry. I will definitely survive. Li Yingdai said. Wu Tianchong then went to concoct the goo poison. After concocting it, Li Yingdai entered the room. Soon, Li Yingdia's painful cries could be heard from the room. It's good that she can scream. It means that she's still alive. If she can't even scream, it means that she's already dead. Wu Tianchong said. Lin Feng said, "Can I go in?" Wu Tianchong said, "You'll only distract her and she'll die faster." Lin Feng could only nod. Time passed. Li Yingdia's cries became weaker and weaker. Lin Feng had the feeling that time was passing by like a year. He wished that 3 days would pass in the blink of an eye. But time seemed to be flowing slower and slower. As Li Yingdia's voice became weaker and weaker, Lin Feng's expression became more and more unsightly. The more it's like this, the more it's a test of willpower and faith, Wu Tianchong said. Lin Feng also knew that he couldn't help Li Yingdai now. Li Yingdai had to rely on herself. In the end, Lin Feng couldn't even hear Li Yingdia's voice anymore. This made him extremely worried. He wanted to rush into the room to check on Li Yingdia's condition, but he was stopped by Wu Tianchong. "Let's wait and see," Wu Tianchong said. Fortunately, not long after, he heard Li Yingdia's weak voice again. Under this kind of torment, 3 days finally passed. Lin Feng rushed into the room. He saw Li Yingdai leaning against the bathtub with her eyes closed. He quickly walked over and checked on Li Yingdia's condition. When he found that Li Yingdai was still alive, he could finally heave a sigh of relief. "Take her to rest for a while. She should be fine when she wakes up," Wu Tianchong said. "Thank you, Senior." Lin Feng thanked him and carried Li Yingdai back to his room. Then, he took off Li Yingdia's wet clothes. Li Yingdai had already gone to Mount Wu with Lin Feng, although Lin Feng didn't have to avoid danger. After coming out of the room, Lin Feng noticed that Wu Tianchong was about to leave. He said, "I, Lin Feng, will remember today's kindness. If you need me in the future, just say the word. As long as it's within my ability, I won't refuse." Wu Tianchong said, "All right, let's part ways here." Then, Wu Tianchong left. "Master, isn't it too easy to bring Goddess Li out this time?" Wang Yinyang asked. Lin Feng narrowed his eyes. Junior sister Li said that her master has some matters to attend to and isn't in the sect. Ishio said, "That's a good reason. There doesn't seem to be anything strange about Li Yingdai." Lin Feng said, "I checked her body, but I didn't find anything out of the ordinary. We don't need to worry too much." The Xinyuan ancient ship flew towards the nearest ancient city. It was unknown how long it would take to fly back to the ancient desolate sea, so it had to enter the city and use a space-time wormhole to reach the ancient desolate sea. This would save them a lot of time. Li Yingdai slept for 10 days before waking up. When she turned around, she saw Lin Feng sitting on a stool not far away, reading a book. She blushed and asked, "Senior brother, how long was I asleep?" "10 days. You're fine now." Lin Feng got up and sat beside the bed, smiling. Li Yingdai had recovered quite well. About a month and a half later, the Xinyuan ancient ship arrived at the ancient desolate sea. In another 3 or 4 days, they should be able to reach the Dragon's Gate. In a room, Lin Feng and Li Yingdai were sleeping in each other's arms. "Yingdai, wake up! Yingdai, wake up!" Several voices echoed in Li Yingdia's mind. Swish, swish. In the darkness, Li Yingdai opened her eyes. However, her eyes had become incomparably empty. It was as if she had lost her soul. Chapter 2010. Yingdai, kill him, kill him, kill him. The voice that resounded in Li Yingdia's mind suddenly became urgent. The voice was extremely cold, as if it had a deep hatred for Lin Feng, as if it wanted to cut Lin Feng into pieces. If Lin Feng heard that voice, he would be very surprised, because that voice was exactly the same as Duan Hongxiu's voice. Duan Hongxiu's voice actually resounded in Li Yingdia's mind, and seemed to be controlling Li Yingdai, making Li Yingdai kill Lin Feng. Li Yingdia's eyes became so empty, as if she had completely lost herself. But suddenly, Li Yingdia's empty eyes flashed with a hint of struggle. Her soul seemed to be struggling. "Yingdai, you are masters." This man tarnished the relationship between master and disciple. Do you still remember? You promised master that you would never betray master. Master trusted you so much. loved you so much, but you betrayed Master for a man. Master didn't kill you, because Master couldn't bear to kill you. As long as you kill this man, Master will forget that you betrayed Master, and Master will still love you as before. Kill him. Kill him. Quickly kill him. Duan Hongxiu's voice became more and more urgent. Her voice seemed to have a terrifying magic power, bewitching Li Yingdai. Li Yingdai quickly lost herself again. Li Yingdai looked at Lin Feng, who was beside her. Swish. A light flashed in her hand. A dagger appeared. That's right. You did a great job. Directly stab his heart. As long as this man dies, Master will forgive you. Stab. Stab his heart. Duan Hongxiu's voice continued to resound, slowly tempting Li Yingdai to stab Lin Feng with the dagger. Li Yingdai had completely lost herself. She held the dagger in her hand and stabbed towards Lin Feng's heart. But at this time, Lin Feng suddenly opened his eyes. He was shocked and quickly grabbed Li Yingdia's wrist. Li Yingdia's left hand slapped towards Lin Feng. She was completely crazy. She didn't want Lin Feng's life. She didn't seem to want to give up. Lin Feng quickly grabbed Li Yingdia's palm, and then pressed Li Yingdai under his body, making her unable to struggle. It's the soul-seizing curse. Quickly enter her mind. Otherwise, this little girl's soul. The demon lord in the demon orb raised his eyelids, said. Lin Feng was stupefied. His soul left his body and entered Li Yingdia's brain. Bitch, go to hell. In the depths of Li Yingdia's mind, there was a soul imprint left behind by Duan Hongxiu. But now, the soul imprint left behind by Duan Hongxiu had turned into a small soul imprint. Duan Hongxiu, who had turned into a small soul, directly sent a palm strike towards Li Yingdia's imprisoned soul. Exclamation point. At this critical moment, the soul souls. Duan Hongxiu, you vicious woman? Aren't you too cruel? Junior sister Li is your disciple, yet you want to kill her. Lin Feng's soul said coldly. Senior brother Lin, I'm sorry, I don't want to kill you. I can't control my body. Li Yingdai said while weeping. Don't be afraid. I know it's not your fault. I will save you. Lin Feng said. Duan Hongxiu's soul imprint roared. No one can touch my things. I'll kill anyone who touches it, and I'll destroy this thing with my own hands. Things? You treat junior martial sister Li as an object? She is a living person, not an object. Lin Feng said with a gloomy expression. A living person? How laughable. How laughable. She's just a tool for me to vent my desires. In my eyes, she's no different from an object. Duan Hongxiu's soul imprint sneered. Master, it's not like that. It's not like that. Li Yingdai found it hard to accept. Although Li Yingdai did not want to maintain that kind of relationship with Duan Hongxiu. But other than this, Li Yingdai had always respected Duan Hongxiu. But she did not expect that. In Duan Hongxiu's eyes, she was not even a person, but a tool. This was a heavy blow to Li Yingdai. You're a madman. Lin Feng's soul imprint looked coldly at Duan Hongxiu's soul imprint. You adulterous couple, go to hell. Duan Hongxiu's soul imprint rushed toward Lin Feng's soul imprint. Swoosh. There was a flash of light. Lin Feng's soul imprint suddenly turned into a celestial map. It was Lu Ya's celestial map, and it flew out. Bang. Lu Ya's celestial map and Duan Hongxiu's soul imprint collided. Crack, crack. Suddenly, Duan Hongxiu's soul imprint began to shatter. No matter how powerful Duan Hongxiu was, it was just a soul imprint. How could it compete with Lin Feng's soul imprint? Moreover, Lin Feng even used Lu Ya's celestial map, a supreme lost art. Lin Feng, just you wait. I'll tear you into pieces. Duan Hongxiu's soul imprint cursed viciously before it dissipated. Bang! In the next moment, Duan Hongxiu's soul imprint was shattered. Lin Feng immediately helped Li Yingdia's soul to break free from the shackles, but he realized that there was a rune deep in Li Yingdia's soul. It was a rune formed by the soul-seizing spell. Although the rune had quieted down, it was not destroyed. Lin Feng's face suddenly turned ugly. As long as the soul-seizing spell rune was still there, Li Yingdai would still be controlled. He tried to break the soul-seizing spell rune, but he failed. Because the soul-seizing spell rune's perception was very strong, It showed signs of recovery when it sensed the invasion of other forces. Once it recovered, it seemed like it would regain control of Li Yingdia's soul. Lin Feng's soul could only temporarily leave Li Yingdia's mind. It's okay. Have a good rest. Lin Feng stroked Li Yingdia's tear-stained face. Li Yingdai curled up in Lin Feng's arms, hugging Lin Feng tightly. The next day, Lin Feng found that Li Yingdai had disappeared. There was a letter on the table. Lin Feng opened the letter and saw a few short lines. Senior brother Lin Yingdai was well aware of how terrifying the soul-seizing curse was. Although the soul-seizing curse had lost all of its power in a short period of time, the soul-seizing curse could still erupt at any time. So please forgive Yingdai for leaving without saying goodbye. Yingdai didn't want to lose control and hurt her senior apprentice brother. Yingdai remembered that there was a place that seemed to be able to break the soul-seizing spell. Yingdai will go to that place, hoping to break my soul-seizing spell. Senior brother, don't look for Yingdai anymore. When Yingdai breaks the soul-seizing spell, I will come to find senior brother. Yingdai has already set up a soul imprint. When the soul-seizing spell awakens again, the restriction set by Yingdai will destroy Yingdia's soul. Yingdai would rather die than be controlled. If that time comes, please forget about Yingdai. In Yingdia's life, there was a short period of time when she had a senior brother. She had a complete life. Yingdai did not have any regrets. Li Yingdia's name was written on the balance. Chapter 2011. Lin Feng sat on the bed and scratched his head. At this moment, he felt a deep sense of powerlessness in his heart. He had tried so hard to save Li Yingdai, but in the end, the result was so cruel. Li Yingdai said that she knew a place that could resolve the soul-seizing curse. From Lin Feng's point of view, this sentence was more like a consolation. Lin Feng did not believe that Li Yingdai really had a way to resolve the soul-seizing curse. It was too difficult. What's the big deal about this feeling of helplessness? This is not the most despairing thing. Back then, I watched my clansmen die one by one in front of my eyes, turning into ashes, but I could not do anything. That feeling was truly despairing. The Demon Lord said. Lin Feng asked, "Have you recovered your memories?" The Demon Lord said, "I would rather forget many things. The past is unbearable to look back on. Now that I look back, I can only feel endless sorrow and regret." The Demon Lord was a person with a story. How he was killed, who killed him, and the tragic deaths of his clansmen. Now, perhaps the Demon Lord had already recovered many of his lost memories. Yao Jun continued, "A lot of things happen because we're not strong enough. That's why we have to increase our cultivation and make ourselves stronger. That's the only way we can prevent more tragedies from happening." Lin Feng nodded. He regained his composure. He had to look forward. He had to make himself stronger. "Junior sister Li, I hope we will meet again one day." Lin Feng muttered to himself and put away Li Yingdia's letter. He put it away. 3 days later, the ancient starship Xianyuan returned to Dragon Gate Island. After returning, Lin Feng found out that Sun Jian had recruited 3 top-notch blacksmiths. This made Lin Feng very happy. These 3 blacksmiths were Sun Jian's friends. Now, Lin Feng had accumulated a lot of precious blacksmithing materials. But Dragon Gate Island did not have any top-notch blacksmiths. They could not refine these materials into divine weapons. But with these 3 blacksmiths, Dragon Gate Island could produce divine weapons in batches. This could quickly increase the strength of Dragon Gate Island. On the 3rd day after returning to Dragon Gate Island, the White Jade Toad evolved. After evolving, the toad gained a new ability. This ability was called Poison Domain. The White Jade Toad belonged to the Stone Clan, and it was the most heaven-defying existence. Therefore, the White Jade Toad had unimaginable battle strength. Every time the White Jade Toad evolved, its battle strength would increase greatly. This time, the White Jade Toad's evolution was the same. Once the Poison Domain appeared, it could condense a huge domain. This domain contained a strong poison. Anyone who was enveloped by this domain would be poisoned. Once a cultivator's body was poisoned, even if they didn't die, their combat power would be greatly reduced. That was the Poison Domain. It was extremely terrifying. What is the poisonous bug I obtained in the martial origin immortal abode? The amount of poison the White Jade Toad needs to evolve is unimaginable. However, this poisonous bug not only provided the white jade toad with the poison it needs to evolve, but the most unbelievable thing is that the white jade toad seems to have only absorbed a small portion of the poison. It's unbelievable. If the white jade toad devours all the poison in this poisonous bug, how many times can it evolve? Lin Feng could not help but ponder. This poisonous bug was very mysterious. Lin Feng searched through many ancient books. He could not find out what kind of poisonous bug it was. Perhaps the poisonous bug from the immortal ancient era had already gone extinct? In the following time, apart from cultivating, Lin Feng studied the mysterious ring he obtained from the martial origin immortal abode. The ring definitely had an extraordinary origin, but the restrictions within it were very complicated. Lin Feng studied it for a long time, but he could not break the restrictions, which made him rather depressed. However, he did not give up. The material of this ring is called the sky crystal. It's an extremely rare material. It's said that this material disappeared during the Bronze Age, so this ring must have existed for a very long time. Of course, this ring must have been obtained by many people, and the last owner must have been an expert from the immortal age. It's very likely that he had a very special relationship with my Wuan. The demon lord said, "The sky crystal, there is actually such a material? I always thought it was something from the legends." Lin Feng couldn't help but say. He had seen an introduction to the sky crystal in an ancient book. It was said that a fingernail-sized sky crystal could create a minor world. Great emperors searched the heavens in order to find a sky crystal to create a storage treasure. However, it was very difficult to find such a material. Therefore, Lin Feng had always thought that the sky crystal was something from the legends. He did not expect it to actually exist, and the ring in his hand was made from a sky crystal. Lin Feng continued to study the restriction of this ring, but unfortunately, he still could not find a way to break it. Such a complicated restriction made Lin Feng feel a little excited. In this ring, what treasure will there be? Will there be the immortal artifact of my Wu Yuan, a true immortal? If there is really an immortal artifact, he was about to wake up from laughing. After the restriction of the ring was broken, he knew whether there was an immortal artifact or not. On this day, a servant came to report that an old friend came to visit. Lin Feng was surprised. An old friend came to visit? Who is this old friend? He asked the servant to invite the guest to the living room. After seeing this guest, Lin Feng's face showed a surprised expression. He said in surprise, "Princess Xueli, I didn't expect it to be you." Princess Xueli, the princess of the Deep Sea Demon Kingdom. When Lin Feng went to the Deep Sea Demon Kingdom with Naza, Lin Feng became acquainted with him. "Lin Gongzi, I didn't expect you to build such a huge force in the ancient desolate sea realm in such a short time," Princess Xueli exclaimed. When she looked at Lin Feng, her beautiful eyes flashed with brilliance from time to time. Back then, Lin Feng killed the evil Dragon Palace's fifth heaven celestial god, Long Shengqiang, with one move outside the Deep Sea Demon Kingdom. That scene deeply shocked Princess Xueli. Even after such a long time, every time she closed her eyes. In Princess Shirley's mind, that shocking scene would often appear. Lin Feng said with a smile, "I was lucky to be able to build the dragon sect." Princess Xueli smiled slightly. She naturally knew that this was just Lin Feng's humble words. If it was just luck, it was impossible to build such a huge force in such a short time. Chapter 2012. When Naza heard that Princess Shirley had come, she was very happy. She hurried to the living room and hugged Princess Shirley when she saw her. Tears welled up in Princess Shirley's eyes. Women were emotional creatures. Therefore, it was easy for them to feel sad. Lin Feng prepared a banquet for Princess Shirley. He smiled and asked, "May I know how you came to the ancient desolate sea realm?" "I came to the ancient desolate sea realm to visit a friend. I didn't think I'd hear about you. Perhaps it's fate." "Yes, Sister Shirley, it must be fate. Otherwise, how could we have met? Sister Shirley and I are fated to meet, and so is Brother Lin," said Naza. Lin Feng smiled. Hearing Naza's innocent words, Princess Shirley seemed to have thought of something else, and her pretty face couldn't help but blush slightly. They talked about many things, and Princess Shirley also talked about the purple-scaled mermaids, and the 9th Evil Dragon Palace. The purple-scaled mermaids and the experts of the 9th Evil Dragon Palace had left with her father. Princess Shirley hadn't heard from her father for a long time. This worried Princess Shirley quite a bit. "Princess, don't you know where they went?" asked Lin Feng. "I don't know. Father rarely talks about himself. Perhaps he went to a secret place. He's been looking for a secret place all these years. Perhaps he found it already." Princess Shirley said. "A secret place? Do you know where it is, Princess?" asked Lin Feng. "I don't know," said Princess Shirley. Princess Shirley stayed on Lin Feng's Dragon Gate Island for 3 days. During that time, Naza accompanied her. After 3 days, Princess Shirley bid farewell and left. On this day, Wanyan Yang came to the study and said, "Master, I have a subordinate who wants to see you." "Bring him in," said Lin Feng. "Yes." After Wanyan Yang left, he quickly brought a young cultivator in. When the young cultivator saw Lin Feng, he quickly bowed and said, "Ding Yunzhong, Vice Commander of the 9th Battalion of the 3rd Legion of the Dragon Gate Army, greet sir." No need for formalities. Lin Feng waved his hand and said, "Thank you, sir." Ding Yunzhong thanked him before getting up. Lin Feng asked, "I heard that you wanted to see me. What's the matter?" Ding Yunzhong said, "My lord, ever since I joined the Dragon Sect, I've learned of your great ambition. Now that you're recruiting, I'd like to recommend 2 candidates." "Oh? Who are you recommending?" Lin Feng asked. "One is a Grandmaster of Formation and the other is a Grandmaster of Alchemy," Ding Yunzhong said. Lin Feng was slightly surprised. An Ancestor-level array Grandmaster must have a profound understanding of array formations. Such an array Grandmaster was needed by every force. As for alchemists at the level of an Ancestor, they were even rarer. That was because alchemists were extremely rare. He did not know how many years he would be able to see an alchemist. Back then, Lin Feng wanted to refine the deity elixir. He did not know how many places he had searched, but he was unable to find an alchemist. Now, Ding Yunzhong actually knew the whereabouts of an Ancestor-level alchemist. Naturally, he was worth paying attention to. Lin Feng asked, "Do you know these 2? Ding Yunzhong hurriedly said, "My lord, one of my ancestors was a fellow disciple of these 2 seniors. Unfortunately, this ancestor of mine died in an accident many years ago, causing our lineage to decline. Fortunately, these 2 seniors still helped this subordinate's lineage out of consideration for my ancestor's friendship. Thus, this subordinate was able to recommend these 2 seniors to Sect Master. If we can recruit these 2 seniors into the Dragon Sect, the Dragon Sect's reputation will definitely soar. When the time comes, we'll definitely be able to attract even more experts." Lin Feng clapped his hands and said, "Good, Ding Yunzhong. This matter, regardless of whether it succeeds or not, will be recorded as a great merit." "Thank you, my lord. Thank you, my lord." Ding Yunzhong immediately thanked him profusely. "There's no time like the present. Let's set off today. Wanyan Yang, go and make preparations. Gather 3,000 soldiers of the Dragon Sect's army and set off with me," Lin Feng said. "Yes, master." Wanyan Yang responded and left the room. The ancient ship, Xianyuan, sailed through the sea. After chatting for a while, Lin Feng learned from Ding Yunzhong that the 2 experts Ding Yunzhong mentioned were called Zhugeqini and Wenziren. These 2 were people who had cultivated for more than 3 million years. Back then, they were also famous experts in the sea. However, they had gone into seclusion later on, so fewer and fewer people knew about them. The ancient ship continued to sail deeper into the sea. The weather was getting colder and colder. Zhugeqini and Wenziren were currently living in seclusion together. The place they lived was called Ice Serpent Island. This Ice Serpent Island was close to the polar ice plains in the Southern Sea. It was said that there were many powerful ice serpents living around the island. Once one entered that region, one would be attacked by the ice serpents. Along the way, Lin Feng saw many wonders on the sea. He even saw an island with an ice crystal tree growing on it. This ice crystal tree was said to be extinct. It seemed like the rumors were false. On this day, snow was falling from the sky. The weather was very cold. The temperature had reached -2,000 degrees Celsius. Many soldiers were shivering from the cold. Lin Feng asked the soldiers to enter the ancient ship. There were powerful restrictions on the ancient ship, which made it very warm. As they went deeper, the temperature continued to drop. Back in the Arctic ice plains, some places could reach negative 10,000 degrees Celsius. Even heavenly god stage cultivators would freeze to death if they stayed outside for a night. It was said that the Arctic ice plains was much colder than the Arctic ice plains. Some places could even reach negative 100,000 degrees Celsius. Even giant god stage experts would freeze to death if they stayed there for a night. Of course, Lin Feng and the others had not reached the Arctic ice plains. They were still in the outer region of the Arctic ice plains. Even though the weather was extremely cold, what surprised Lin Feng was that the water hadn't frozen yet. Sometimes, he could not help but sigh at the wonders of the Creator. Even in such cold weather, it did not freeze. He did not know why. Bang, bang, bang. Suddenly, something was crazily hitting the Xinyuan ancient ship. Lin Feng and the others quickly went out and saw a huge ice serpent that was over 1,000 meters long. It was hitting the restrictions on the Xinyuan ancient ship. "Sir, we're almost there," Ding Yunzhong said. Lin Feng nodded. The Xinyuan ancient ship soared into the sky, got rid of the ice serpent's attacks, and quickly flew towards the depths. 2 hours later, a gigantic ice island appeared in Lin Feng's field of vision. Chapter 2013. This island was where Zhuge and Wenziren cultivated, Ice Serpent Island. There were many powerful ice snakes swimming around the Ice Snake Island. Many of the ice snakes were coldly looking at the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship in the sky. It seemed like they would attack the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship at any moment. Fortunately, these ice serpents obediently stayed in the sea. "Sir, the Ice Serpent Island is right in front of us. The tempers of these two seniors are a bit strange, so it might not be easy to recruit them. Sir, you must be mentally prepared," Ding Yunzhong said. Lin Feng nodded and said, "Let's go to the island now." "Yes, sir. Please follow me." Ding Yunzhong led the way. The rest of the people stayed on the ancient ship. When Lin Feng entered the island, he sensed some powerful qi in the depths of the island. There was a powerful deployment spell in the depths of the island. It seems like Senior Wenziren's formation skills have reached the acme of perfection. Lin Feng couldn't help but say. Zhuge was an alchemist, while Wenziren was an array grandmaster. Ding Yunzhong said, "That's right. Senior Wen's formation skills are very profound. In the past, some immortal sects came to ask for Senior Wen's help in setting up a new formation." The two chatted as they walked deeper into the island. Lin Feng discovered that there were many rare spirit beasts living on this island. For example, there was a spirit beast that was completely white like a white bear. However, it had a pair of huge wings and a huge snow-white tail. This spirit beast's tail was even longer than its body. It was unknown what kind of spirit beast it was. There were countless of such spirit beasts on the island. Lin Feng also saw a few unicorns. Unicorns were extremely rare spirit beasts. It was said that unicorns represented the purest energy in the world. Only the purest virgins could approach them. These spirit beasts were raised by Senior One, Ding Yunzhong said. Lin Feng's heart couldn't help but move. This Senior Wenziren actually kept so many spirit beasts in captivity. It seemed that he was a relatively easygoing person. This was because it required patience to raise spirit beasts. Hot-tempered people, or people who were impetuous, would not be able to raise spirit beasts. And those who were more patient tended to be easier to talk to. Although this island was called Ice Serpent Island, it was obviously incompatible with the surrounding environment. It was snowing heavily. On Ice Serpent Island, it was like spring all year round. All kinds of exotic flowers and herbs were blooming, and spirit beasts were galloping. It was as if they had arrived at a fairyland. Soon, Lin Feng and Ding Yunzhong arrived at the depths of the island. In the depths of the island, there was a huge mountain. Zhuge and Wenziren's cave residence was built on the mountain peak. However, the mountain peak was protected by a powerful array formation. If one wanted to enter, they would have to pass through the array formation. "My lord, please wait for a moment. I will go in and report this to my lord," Ding Yunzhong said. "Yes." Lin Feng nodded and stood with his hands clasped behind his back. Ding Yunzhong walked into the depths of the formation and stood outside. He said, "Ancestors, I've come to see you, and I've brought a friend with me. Please, ancestors, let us in." Swish! Suddenly, a divine light swept out from the array formation and directly swept Ding Yunzhong's body, sending him flying. There was a loud thump. Ding Yunzhong fell to the ground miserably. "Ouch! It hurts so much. Ancestors, what are you doing? Are you trying to take this junior's life?" Ding Yunzhong crawled up from the ground and wailed. However, no sound came from inside. Zhuge and Ziren simply ignored Ding Yunzhong. Ding Yunzhong smiled bitterly and walked back. He said, "My lord, these two seniors have very strange tempers. They must be unhappy that I brought you here. That's why they threw me out." Lin Feng patted Ding Yunzhong's shoulder and said, "Return to the ancient ship. Leave the rest to me." "Understood." Ding Yunzhong replied and left. Lin Feng walked into the depths of the island and stopped outside the array. He cupped his fists and said, "Seniors, this junior is Lin Feng, the leader of the Dragon's Gate. I have come to visit you and ask you to open the array and let me in. This junior has something important to discuss with you. Leave quickly. Don't disturb our cultivation." A deep voice came from the depths of the island. It should be either Zhuge or Ziren. Lin Feng said, "This junior has come to help you reach a higher level. Once you hear my words, you will know that this junior has come with sincerity." "Brat, you're so young, but you're quite arrogant. If you're really capable, go through the array first." The other voice sneered. Lin Feng said, "All right, then this junior will test the mysteries of this array." As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng walked towards the array without hesitation. He naturally knew that it would be very difficult to pass through the array. Ziren's array skills were incomparably high. However, Lin Feng was quite confident in his array skills. He had encountered a powerful array set up by an expert. Lin Feng was quite interested in competing with it. He entered the array and saw the white fog rolling around him. The scene in front of him changed. In the next moment, he disappeared. Lin Feng was teleported to the center of the array. Swish! Suddenly, an ice-cold light slashed at him from behind. This cold light pierced through the sky and was extremely powerful. Lin Feng's reaction was extremely fast. He moved to the left and dodged the ice-cold light. However, at that moment, Lin Feng suddenly realized that something had wrapped around his legs. He looked down and saw dense black vines growing out of the ground. Those black vines had wrapped around his legs. Slash! Lin Feng slashed out a ray of sword chi towards the black vines. Clang, clang, clang. However, when his sword chi slashed at the black rattan, the sword chi slashed out. It was actually blocked by the black vines. How is this possible? Lin Feng was shocked. He knew how powerful his attack was, but he couldn't believe that he couldn't cut through the black vines. He didn't know what these vines were, but their defensive power was actually so strong. Swish, swish, swish. Suddenly, something even more terrifying happened. Around Lin Feng, a dense cold light condensed. These cold lights tore through the void. They all rushed towards Lin Feng, who was entangled by the black vines. "You dare to break the array with this level of skill?" A disdainful voice came from the depths of the array. Chapter 2014. Senior, it's too early to be smug. Lin Feng replied indifferently. When the dense cold light shot over, energy crystal walls appeared around his body. All the cold light shot onto the energy crystal walls. They were blocked by these energy crystal walls. This was the energy crystal wall, constructed by the Great Defense technique that Lin Feng cultivated. The Great Defense technique was also one of the 3,000 Great Dao, and it was one of the only 2 defensive divine abilities among the 3,000 Great Dao. The other defensive divine ability was the Daishin martial art. After using the Great Defense technique to block the cold light attacks, Lin Feng's body immediately appeared with heavenly fire. Qi, 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 qi. The heavenly fire wrapped around the black vines that wrapped around his body. Instantly, the black vines began to burn. Fire restrained wood. These black vines belonged to the wood category. Naturally, They were restrained by the heavenly fire. Oomph! A cold snort came from the depths. However, the voice soon disappeared. Lin Feng continued to walk towards the depths of the array. This array was not simple because it not only contained array formation attacks, but also some other attacks, such as the black vines. He wondered if there were other powerful methods that he had to guard against. Suddenly, the scene in front of him suddenly changed. The world that was shrouded in white fog disappeared. Lin Feng found himself in a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. As far as the eye could see, endless corpses were piled up into a mountain. Endless blood gathered to form a sea of blood. In the sea of blood, there were also countless corpses floating. The densely packed corpses opened their eyes at the same time. Then, with a roar that shook the sky, they pounced towards Lin Feng. An evil aura spread between heaven and earth. The situation in front of him was too terrifying. It made it impossible to tell what was real and what was illusory. Lin Feng felt a pain in his head as if it was about to split open. His mind became absent-minded. When he looked up, he saw an army of corpses drowning him. This caused him to be overwhelmed with shock. He retreated quickly, his heart filled with fear. He wanted to escape from this place as soon as possible. But at this time, Lin Feng felt that something was wrong. He still remembered that he was in the array. How could he possibly see a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood? Illusion. It must be an illusion. It was just that when Xiren's illusions were too powerful, this kind of illusion almost made him lose himself in it. This caused Lin Feng to be deeply shocked and in disbelief. This when Xiren's attainments and formations were so high. Of course, there were many capable people in this world. The experts of the world should not be underestimated. Heavenly Demon Snake Eye, Lin Feng shouted in a low voice. He opened the Heavenly Demon Snake Eye. This was the Eye of Origin. It could see through all illusions. After the Heavenly Demon Snake opened its eyes, all the illusions disappeared. However, a terrifying aura came from behind him. No one knew what kind of attack it was. Lin Feng hurriedly summoned the Death God armor to protect his body. Behind him, an energy ball appeared and slammed into his body. Bang! The ball of energy exploded. It was a powerful impact. It sent Lin Feng flying. Crackle! Lin Feng felt that all the bones in his body were about to be shattered. He fell to the ground in a sorry state. Damn! The attack is actually so powerful. Lin Feng couldn't help but cry out gloomily. If it wasn't for the Death God armor protecting his body, the attack just now would have been lacerated. He was seriously injured. Perverted old man. Lin Feng couldn't help but slander in his heart. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Waves after waves of violent fluctuations swept over from all directions. Dense balls of light appeared. They were as fast as lightning and shot towards Lin Feng. One by one, the energy balls emitted powerful fluctuations that could destroy heaven and earth. The power was too tyrannical. It made Lin Feng feel a sense of fear. Now, Lin Feng's level of formations was also incomparably powerful. However, Lin Feng's time of studying formations was very short. Therefore, compared to an old monster like when Xiren who had studied formations for millions of years, he was still lacking a bit of maturity. Lin Feng was also very clear about this point. Of course, although when Xiren's great formation was powerful, Lin Feng's inheritance of the Celestial Master Dao was also incomparably powerful. Therefore, he was still very confident in breaking the formation. He quickly moved and dodged the attacks of the energy balls. It was this kind of energy ball that had blown him away just now. Therefore, Lin Feng knew how powerful this kind of energy ball was. While dodging these energy balls, he used the formation splitting technique. One by one, the great formations were torn apart by Lin Feng. Not only did he dodge the attacks of the energy balls, but he also split open the great formation and gradually went deep into the great formation. At this moment, in a cave in the deepest part of the great formation, a mirror floated in front of two old men. In the mirror, Lin Feng was breaking the formation. The tall and sturdy old man on the right gloated, "Old man, your formation skills are really lacking. It's actually going to be broken by a young cultivator. If news of this spreads, you'll lose a lot of face." The old man who spoke was Zhuge Chunyi. He was a powerful alchemist. As for the old man on the left, he had a sage-like demeanor. He was Wenziren. Wenziren did not get angry when he heard Zhuge Chun's gloating words. He said, "This kid's formation skills are indeed very high, but it won't be that easy to break the formation and enter." As soon as Wenziren finished speaking, roars could be heard coming from outside. Zhuge Chun's eyes narrowed, and he said, "The war god puppets have awakened. Looks like this kid is going to lose." Lin Feng, who was breaking the formation, frowned when he heard the roars coming from the depths of the formation. After the roars came, Lin Feng sensed a terrifying aura surging out from the depths of the formation. It seemed like some powerful existence was rapidly charging out. Swoosh! There was a flash of light. Within the white mist, a huge figure appeared, swinging a huge golden sword at Lin Feng. The space was torn apart by the sword. What terrifying power! Lin Feng's heart trembled, and he quickly retreated, barely dodging the attack. At this moment, he clearly saw what the huge figure was. It was a golden giant, but it did not have any aura of life. Thus, Lin Feng guessed that it was a puppet. Moreover, Lin Feng could sense that the formation's power was continuously flowing into the golden giant's body. The golden giant's battle prowess was continuously rising. War god puppets? Could they be the legendary war god puppets? The legendary war god puppets that protect the heavenly court? Aren't these war god puppets from the Undying Realm? Why are they here? Lin Feng was shocked. Chapter 2015. In many myths and legends, there were legends about the war god puppet. It was said that the war god puppet was a fallen war god of the heaven realm, and its corpse fell into the Undying Realm. Then it was forged into a war god puppet by the big shots of the Undying Realm using an ancient secret technique. There seemed to be a total of 12 such war god puppets in the Undying Realm, patrolling and guarding the Undying Realm. Now, the appearance of such a war god puppet naturally made Lin Feng extremely puzzled. Was it really a war god puppet of the Undying Realm? In the long years, there had been countless catastrophes in the various heavens. Therefore, it was understandable that the war god puppet of the Undying Realm had inadvertently spread to the 9 provinces' great world. Roar! The war god puppet roared again, waving the giant golden sword and slashing towards Lin Feng. Sword chi crisscrossed, tearing the void apart. Lin Feng dodged the sword of the war god puppet somewhat awkwardly. Lin Feng was surprised. He found that there was something wrong with the puppet. The war god puppet was indeed very powerful, but there were still many damaged places on its body. It seemed to have been destroyed in the past, but now it had been repaired. Lin Feng instantly thought of a possibility. The war god puppet was originally in the Undying Realm. When the catastrophes descended, for some reason, the war god puppet had spread to the 9 provinces' great world. Then, countless years had passed. Wenziren had obtained the damaged war god puppet by chance. Then Wenziren began to repair the war god puppet. In the end, the war god puppet was able to recover part of its power, but if Wenziren wanted to completely repair the war god puppet, it was obviously not something that could be done in a day. This war god puppet was more seriously damaged, and it was unknown how many precious materials it would take to completely repair it. Of course, this war god puppet was really too terrifying. Although only a part of it had been repaired, its power was still frighteningly strong. Moreover, Wenziren had obviously merged the war god puppet with the formation he had set up. The war god puppet had become a part of the formation. Therefore, the war god puppet was able to continuously absorb the energy provided by the formation to increase its battle strength. The war god puppet's attacks were endless, slashing towards Lin Feng one sword after another. The godly battle puppet's attacks were too powerful. Lin Feng had to dodge the godly battle puppet's attack. Then he summoned the 9 demons and controlled the war god puppet. The war god puppet. The war god puppet unleashed its might and sent the 9 demons' portrait flying with a single slash. F***CK. What a pervert. Lin couldn't help howling. Even a supreme treasure like the 9 demons painting was sent flying by the war god puppet, as expected of the Undying World's guardian. Back then, since he could represent the heavens to patrol and protect the Undying World, what kind of strength did he have? Thinking of this, Lin Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath. Facing the war god puppet's attacks, Lin Feng was quite embarrassed. It was almost impossible to defeat this war god puppet. Therefore, there was only one way, and that was to find the core of the formation. If he could break the core of the formation, then the formation would collapse. Moreover, the war god puppet would lose all its threats at that time. Thinking of this, Lin Feng began to look for the core of the formation. But at this moment, a clattering sound could be heard. Chains appeared one after another. These chains were like chains of order, locking down heaven and earth and entangling towards Lin Feng. Seeing these chains, Lin Feng immediately felt that it was extremely troublesome. Originally, facing the war god puppet's attacks was already a very troublesome matter, and with these chains of order entangling him, this gave Lin Feng a headache. He unleashed Skyrend. It condensed a powerful blade light. He wanted to cut those chains of order. However, things did not go as he wished. The defense of those chains of order was very strong. Although Lin Feng's attack hit those chains of order, it was unable to cut through them. Clatter. Then, the chains of order entangled towards Lin Feng. The great path of sacrifice. I will sacrifice the order law in exchange for a powerful strength to strengthen my body. Lin Feng suddenly roared. He stretched out his hand and pointed at the chains of order around him. In an instant, the power of sacrifice surged out. When the power of sacrifice wrapped around the chains of order, the power of sacrifice began to spread. The chains of order began to be sacrificed by Lin Feng. This was the great sacrifice technique, and it was extremely overbearing. If one's cultivation was strong enough, they could even sacrifice a great world. As the order law was sacrificed, Lin Feng instantly felt the power in his body increasing crazily. Ha 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 ha, the great sacrifice technique is indeed powerful. Lin Feng laughed. The great sacrifice technique not only dispelled the attacks of the chains of order, but it also increased his combat strength. It was killing two birds with one stone, killing two eagles with one stone. At this moment, the war god puppet charged over and slashed at Lin Feng with its sword. Lin Feng controlled the nine devil painting to sweep at the war god puppet. Now that Lin Feng had obtained the power of sacrifice technique, his combat strength had increased to an unprecedented level. Therefore, when he activated the nine devil painting, its power increased tremendously. Bang! The nine devil painting and the war god puppet collided again. In the previous collisions, the nine devil painting was sent flying by the war god puppet. But now, it was the opposite. Chapter 2016. Swoosh. Lin Feng's speed was extremely fast. Like a bolt of lightning, he charged towards the eye of the formation. However, at that moment, the five puppets roared and charged towards Lin Feng. Inside the cave, when Xiren could not help but snort coldly. He had not expected to use 5 war god puppets this time. To think that he would use all of his war god puppets to deal with a young junior, trying to break the formation. This made Xiren feel embarrassed. Zhuge Cheni said, "You can't look at him as a junior. In the world of cultivators, the strong are respected, not the age. Although he's young, he's very capable. Since he was able to establish the Dragon Gate in such a short period of time, he's definitely not a simple person." Of course I know he's not a simple person. From what you're saying, do you really want to rely on him? Xiren could not help but ask. Xiren and Zhuge Cheni were both old monsters. They had lived for so many years. They naturally knew why Lin Feng was here. Zhuge Cheni said, "I don't have such thoughts. I'm just a wild crane that doesn't care about worldly matters. I'm happy to be idle." While Xiren and Zhuge Cheni were talking, Lin Feng had already charged to the front of the formation. He directly swept his gaze towards the eye of the formation. Bang! The eye of the formation exploded. It's done. Lin Feng's face revealed a smile. However, in the next moment, his smile came to an abrupt end. Because, although the eye of the formation had been broken, however, the 5 war god puppets were still unaffected, and the Great Array was also unaffected. The formation was still operating. The 5 puppets had already charged over, waving their swords and directly slashing towards Lin Feng. Facing the 5 puppets' attacks, Lin Feng could no longer dodge. He used the heaven patching technique. Swish. There was a flash of light. He disappeared without a trace. Lin Feng appeared 100 meters away, looking at the 5 puppets with a serious expression. Why was the array still operating freely even though he had just broken the array core? Could it be that what he had just broken was a fake array core? Some array formation experts like to set up some fake array cores to confuse others when breaking arrays. However, Lin Feng was astonished to be able to pass off the fake array eye as the real one. The heavenly demon snake eye continued to search for new array cores. In the end, he found 8 formation cores. Including the previous array core, Lin Feng actually found a total of 9 array cores. 9 was the extreme number. This number was rather sensitive. It was also quite special. Wherever the number 9 appeared, it was usually quite strange. Just like the formation in front of him. Roar, 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 roar. The 5 war god puppets roared and charged towards Lin Feng again. Should they retreat or continue to break the formation? Now Lin Feng was faced with a choice. If they retreated, their previous efforts would be in vain. Wouldn't they have to admit that they had failed in front of Zhuge and Wenziren? This was not the result that Lin Feng wanted to see. If they didn't retreat, they would have to face the great threat of the 5 war god puppets. I have to find the real array core quickly. Otherwise, this formation will fail. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. The heavenly demon snake eye looked at the 8 array cores. Out of the remaining 8 formation eyes, one of them must be real, but which one was real? A sentence suddenly appeared in Lin Feng's mind. 9 transformation in Yang Samsara. The dragon raises its golden head to the east. The immortal phoenix burns the world. The 5 sacred beasts guard the 4 barren lands. This was a limerick recorded in the inheritance of the Celestial Master sect. The content of the limerick was that in ancient times, some people who were proficient in array formations liked to set up arrays with the 5 sacred beasts, the true dragon and the phoenix. The sacred beasts were mainly the true dragon. The true dragon raised its head to the east, which meant that the array core was usually set up somewhere in the east. Lin Feng turned his head to look. Sure enough, he saw it, with the center of the array as the core. In the east, there was an array core. It's this array core. Lin Feng's eyes suddenly lit up, and he quickly rushed over. But at this time, the 5 war god puppets pounced over. The situation was very dangerous. Lin Feng also took out the revered sword tomb. 4 swords flew out, slashing towards the 4 war god puppets. The 9 demon painting also locked onto one of the war god puppets. Lin Feng naturally knew that the 9 demon painting and the 4 swords couldn't block the attacks of the war god puppets. However, it only needed to block for a moment. Clang, 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 clang. A series of collision sounds rang out. Lin Feng's 9 demon painting and the 4 swords collided with the 5 war god puppet swords, creating a powerful sound of collision. The 5 treasures were immediately sent flying by the 5 war god puppets' golden greatswords. But Lin Feng had already seized this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to rush out of the encirclement of the 5 war god puppets. He quickly arrived at the array core and smashed it with a punch. As the array core was destroyed by Lin Feng, the surrounding array patterns began to fall silent, and the 5 war god puppets actually stood in place, not moving at all. Huff! Lin Feng took a deep breath. Finally, he had broken the deployment spell. He walked towards the depths of the cave. But at this time, in the depths of the cave, a terrifying force surged out, directly hitting Lin Feng's body, sending Lin Feng flying. With a plop, Lin Feng fell outside the array. Giant God Realm. Lin Feng was shocked. He originally thought that Zhuge and Wenziren were ancestor-level existences. But now he knew that these 2 powerhouses were actually at the Giant God Realm. Buzz. At this time, the array that Lin Feng had broken started operating again. The array seemed to have a self-repairing function. Lin Feng got up from the ground and said gloomily, "This junior has already broken the array, but senior threw me out. What is the meaning of this? This is my territory, and I am the master." A cold voice came from inside. Lin Feng's face was filled with black lines. Shameless. This was Wenziren, right? He had broken the array. Was he angry because of this? Lin Feng had seen shameless people before, but he had never seen such a shameless giant God Realm expert. He was turning his back on him. Previously, he had thought that Ziren was a very amiable person. But now, he realized that he was gravely mistaken. "Senior, you don't keep your word," Lin Feng said with a dark face. "Who can prove it?" The voice came from inside again. "Senior, are you really going to go back on your word?" Lin Feng asked. "What can you do to me?" The voice came from inside again. Lin Feng rolled his eyes. In the end, he felt extremely helpless and walked out. Seeing Lin Feng come out, Wan and Yang and Ding Yunzhong hurried over. Chapter 2017. Master, how did it go? Did you see the two seniors? Wan Yin Yang asked. Lin Feng replied, "Those two are simply scoundrels. We agreed that as long as I could break the formation, I would be able to meet them. Who would have thought that after I broke the formation, these two fellows refused to admit it and even chased me out?" Ding Yunzhong smiled bitterly and said, "My lord, this is in line with the temperament of the two ancestors. They've lived for so long, and they don't give in to anyone." Lin Feng nodded. He suddenly thought of Lord Tortoise, who also had a similar personality. They were simply scoundrels and crafty old foxes. Whenever they said something, they would turn around and refuse to admit it. Thus, Lin Feng was already used to it. "What do we do now? Are we going to fail at the last step?" Wan Yin Yang asked. Lin Feng frowned. Zhuge Qinyi and Wan Ziran were both strong cultivators of the giant god layer. If he could recruit them, a top spirit array master in the giant god realm, an alchemist in the realm of the giant god. At that time, Dragon Gate Island's power would increase greatly. They could even establish themselves as the #1 faction in the ancient Desolate Sea region. At that time, who knew how many experts would join them? Dreams were beautiful, but reality was cruel. Although Lin Feng wanted to recruit the two giant gods, he couldn't do anything about it. Unfortunately, the two of them were stubborn, and he had no idea where to start. He wasn't willing to give up just like that. But even if he was unwilling, what could he do? Recruiting them was something that both parties were willing to do. If they didn't agree, then even if he met them and tried to persuade them, it would be useless. Lin Feng suddenly thought of a saying, "Know thyself and know thy enemy, and you will never be defeated." He realized that he didn't know much about Zhuge Qinyi and Wan Ziren. He looked at Lin Feng and Ding Yunzhong and asked, "Ding Yunzhong, do those two seniors have any weaknesses?" Ding Yunzhong smiled bitterly and said, "What weaknesses do these two patriarchs have? They don't lack cultivation resources, wealth, or magic treasures." As Ding Yunzhong spoke, his eyes suddenly lit up. He said, "I just remembered something." "What is it?" Wan Yin Yang asked impatiently. "Back then, my ancestor and Senior Zhuge and Senior Wan were fellow disciples, but they had a junior sister. Her name was Shueliangqiu." Ding Yunzhong said, "Junior sister?" Lin Feng muttered. Ding Yunzhong continued, "Many years ago, I heard an elder talk about what happened back then. At that time, my ancestor and several seniors were still very young. Senior Zhuge and Senior Wan both liked Senior Shui, and Senior Shui seemed to have some feelings for Senior Wan. Once, Senior Zhuge, Senior Wan, and Senior Shui went out to experience the world, but this time, they encountered danger. At that time, Senior Zhuge was faced with a life-and-death situation, and in order to save Senior Shui and Senior Wan, Senior Zhuge almost lost his life. Fortunately, my ancestor arrived in time and saved Senior Zhuge, but Senior Zhuge became a living dead and was bedridden for 100 years. Later, he found the soul returning immortal grass, and his life was saved. Senior Shui knew that Senior Zhuge was interested in her, so when Senior Wan confessed to Senior Shui, Senior Shui rejected Senior Wan because of Senior Zhuge, but Senior Zhuge never confessed to Senior Wan. The three of them slowly grew old, and now, their relationship seems to have become very cold. They rarely interact with each other. Hearing this, Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh. If Zhuge Qinyi hadn't risked his life to save Wan Ziren and Shueliangqiu, perhaps Wan Ziren and Shueliangqiu would be together, right? Of course, Lin Feng knew that there were no ifs in this world. What had already happened. Time couldn't be turned back. Lin Feng said, "Where is this Senior Shui? Do you know?" "I heard from the elders that she lives in seclusion on the immortal Snow Island, which is about 7 to 8 days away from here." Ding Yunzhong said, "Okay, let's go to the Immortal Snow Island and meet this senior Shui." Lin Feng said. Then, the three of them returned to the ancient starship Xianyuan. The ancient starship Xianyuan leaped into the void and left. The Immortal Snow Island was closer to the Antarctic ice field. As they went deeper into the Antarctic ice field, the temperature was getting lower and lower. Moreover, the surface of the sea was beginning to freeze. The temperature on the Ice Snake Island was about -2,800 to -2,900 degrees Celsius. However, Lin Feng and the others had already arrived at a place with a temperature of -5,000 degrees Celsius. They had yet to reach the Immortal Snow Island. Your elders are really interesting. Why do they like to live in seclusion in such a cold place? Wang Yinyang asked. Ding Yunzhong said, in such a cold place, there are very few people. It's very quiet. Lin Feng said, yes, such a place is indeed suitable for living in seclusion. No one will disturb you there. Roar. At that moment, an earth-shattering roar was heard. Lin Feng, Wang Yinyang, and Ding Yunzhong walked out of the cabin and looked into the distance. They saw a huge snow-white bear. The bear's body was extremely huge. It was about 700 to 800 meters long and 400 to 500 meters tall. Its entire body was snow-white, and it looked like a polar bear that had been enlarged by 200 to 300 times. That's a South Pole bear. It's one of the overlords of the Antarctic ice field. Its strength is extremely terrifying. Ding Yunzhong said, roar. A dragon's roar came from a snowy mountain range. Then, a snow-white dragon flew out. A South Pole snow dragon. It's also one of the overlords of the Antarctic ice field. These overlords will sometimes have conflicts due to various reasons, and in the end, they will resolve them through battle. Ding Yunzhong continued, the strength of these two big guys is unfathomable. Lin Feng rubbed his chin and said, the two behemoths' roars shook the sky. Their roars shook the world as they started fighting. Lin Feng wasn't interested in staying here and watching these two overlords fight. If these two fellows saw the Xianyuan ancient starry sky ship, they might be besieged by the two overlords. The ancient starry sky ship sped up and rushed into the distance. After another 3 days, Lin Feng finally saw the Immortal Snow Island. It was very huge, and it was floating in the air. Snow was falling around the island, and the island was covered in silver. The ancient starry sky ship stopped in the air. Lin Feng, Ding Yunzhong, and Wang Yinyang flew towards the Immortal Snow Island. As soon as they landed on the island, a group of female disciples flew out from the island. There were a total of 12 female disciples. They were holding swords and surrounded Lin Feng's group. Who are you? How dare you trespass on the Immortal Snow Island? Are you plotting against the Immortal Snow Island? A female disciple said coldly. Chapter 2018. The female disciple who spoke was tall and slender. Her face was very beautiful, but she looked cold. The other female disciples all followed her lead. It seemed that this senior Shui Yangqiu had many disciples, which was different from Zhuge and Wenziren. Zhuge and Wenziren did not have any disciples. Sister Lu, it's me. Don't you recognize me? Ding Yunzhong said with a smile. That female disciple suddenly swung the sword in her hand, almost splitting Ding Yunzhong into 2 halves. Ding Yunzhong dodged the sword by a hair's breadth. He was so scared that he broke out in cold sweat. If he had been a bit slower, he would have been cut in half. Who are you calling, sister? Do I know you? The female disciple said fiercely. Lin Feng could not help but laugh inwardly. Ding Yunzhong wanted to establish a relationship with her, but he was mercilessly slapped in the face. Ding Yunzhong said with a bitter smile, Sister Lu, I'm Ding Yunzhong, little Ding. I came with my ancestor to visit Senior Shui. Ding Yunzhong? The female disciple pondered. Then, she looked at Ding Yunzhong and said, so it's you, young Master Ding Yunzhong, who wet his bed when he was 8 years old. As soon as she said that, the other female disciples covered their faces and laughed. What the? Ding Yunzhong almost fell to the ground. Ha ha ha, old Ding, aren't you too awesome? You wet your bed when you were 8 years old? Wang Yinyang asked with a smile. Lin Feng was also grinning from ear to ear. Ding Yunzhong hurriedly denied. Nonsense. I stopped wetting my bed when I was 8 years old. Don't listen to her. This is blatant slander, said the female disciple surnamed Lu. All right, I don't feel like chatting with you anymore. I haven't seen you come to the immortal snow island for so many years. Now, you're here all of a sudden. Moreover, you even brought these two people here. I want to see Senior Shui. I have something to tell Senior Shui. Sister Lu, help me report it to her. Ding Yunzhong said, if you have something to say, tell me first. I'll decide whether to report it to the ancestor, said the female disciple surnamed Lu. If I tell you to go, then go. Why are you spouting so much nonsense? Ding Yunzhong felt that he had lost face in front of Lin Feng, so his tone became a lot tougher. The female disciple surnamed Lu angrily said, Ding Yunzhong, your courage has grown fat, hasn't it? How dare you yell at me like that? Do you believe that I won't kill you right now? When Ding Yunzhong heard this, he was so scared that his whole body trembled. He apologized profusely, and the masculinity from before instantly disappeared without a trace. He didn't know if this guy had some kind of trauma towards that female disciple surnamed Lu. He seemed to be afraid of the female disciple surnamed Lu. At that moment, Lin Feng walked out, cupped his fists, and said, Junior sister, I am the sect leader of the Dragon Gate, Lin Feng. I have come here to see Senior Shui, and I hope that you can pass on the message. Are you the Dragon Gate sect master? The female disciple surnamed Lu was shocked. The rest of the female disciples also looked at Lin Feng with shocked expressions. They had naturally heard of the Dragon Gate sect leader before. However, they didn't expect the Dragon Gate sect master to be so young and handsome. Now, many of the female disciples were staring at Lin Feng, as if they wanted to see through Lin Feng. The genuine Dragon Gate sect master. Lin Feng smiled and waved his right hand. Rivers of origin crystals flew out from the ground. There were a total of 12 rivers of origin crystals. Each river was made up of 1,000,000 origin crystals. This is our first meeting, so I didn't prepare any gifts. These origin crystals are for my junior sisters. I hope that your cultivation will advance by leaps and bounds, Lin Feng said with a smile. Ah, is it for us? The group of female disciples cried out in surprise. Every month, they could receive some origin crystals for cultivation, but they could only receive 1,000 pieces. 1,000,000 origin crystals was definitely a huge fortune for them. Therefore, the group of female disciples was extremely excited at that moment. They couldn't even believe that it was real. Lin Feng smiled and said, Of course, it's for my junior sisters. Whoosh! The 12 rivers of origin crystals flew to the 12 female disciples. The female disciple surnamed Lu said, Thank you for your gift, Senior Brother Lin. Thank you, Senior Brother Lin. The rest of the female disciples also thanked Lin Feng. Lin Feng said with a smile, Junior sisters, please don't be so courteous with me. I still have some small trinkets here. They're all worthless things, so I'll give them to you for self-defense. Lin Feng waved his right hand. Swoosh! Divine light flashed. 12 divine artifact hairpins flew out. They landed in the hands of the 12 female disciples. Heavens, a true god-level hairpin. Immediately, the female disciples exclaimed, their faces flushed with excitement. Divine artifacts were hard to find. That was because the materials to forge divine artifacts were not easy to find. Therefore, only 3 or 4 of them had divine artifacts, and they were all low-level divine artifacts. Now that Lin Feng had casually given away a true god-level divine artifact, the group of female disciples was naturally excited. The happiest one was none other than the female disciple surnamed Lu. The other female disciples had received true god-level hairpins. She, on the other hand, had received a heavenly god-level hairpin. These female disciples were all led by the female disciple surnamed Lu, so they naturally had to be treated differently. It would allow the female disciple surnamed Lu to gain both benefits and face. This would also make it easier for him to do things. Thank you for your gift, Senior Brother. The female disciple surnamed Lu bowed to Lin Feng. The rest of the female disciples hurriedly followed the female disciple surnamed Lu and bowed to Lin Feng. Ding Yunzhong, who was on the side, could not help but slander in his heart. Had the tigress changed? She had become so gentle. Lin Feng smiled and said, They're all worthless things. Junior sisters, please don't be so polite. The group of female disciples wailed in their hearts. He had casually given each of them 1,000,000 source crystals, and each of them had received a true God-level divine artifact. Senior Sister Lu had even received a heavenly God-level divine artifact. How could such precious treasures be considered worthless? Just what is so valuable in this senior brother Lin's eyes? I really hope that this senior brother Lin will take a fancy to me. Even if I can't be his concubine, I'll be satisfied to be a maid who sleeps in his bed. At this time, Lin Feng said, I don't know if Junior Sister Lu can help me put in a good word for Senior Shui to meet me. The female disciple surnamed Lu had received Lin Feng's benefits. Naturally, she would not refuse Lin Feng. Money makes the world go round. This sentence was very reasonable. The female disciple surnamed Lu said, Naturally, there's no problem. It's just that the old ancestor is in seclusion refining a pill, so I need to wait until the old ancestor comes out before I can report to Senior Brother Lin. No problem. We can wait for a few days. Lin Feng smiled slightly. Chapter 2019. Lu had wanted to arrange a place for Lin Feng to stay on Immortal Snow Island, but Lin Feng had declined. He planned to rest on the ancient starship, Xinyuan. News of the arrival of the Dragon Sect's sect master had spread throughout Immortal Snow Island. The generosity of the Dragon Sect's sect master made many people envious of Lu and the other 12 disciples. Many female disciples came out one after another, wanting to see the legendary young sect master. However, Lin Feng had yet to show up, which disappointed them greatly. Ding Yunzhong knew a lot of female disciples, so when he saw some female disciples he knew, he would go and greet them. A female disciple asked, Senior Brother Ding, why did you side with Sect Master Lin? Your family background is not bad. Is there a need to side with others and be ordered around? Ding Yunzhong immediately said, What do you know? I'm a person with great ambitions and ambitions. Naturally, I have to choose a good master to side with. Only then can I realize my ambitions. Ding Yunzhong began to talk with assurance in front of a group of female disciples, acting like a pretentious prick in front of them. Suddenly, a female disciple sneered, You have great ambitions? Great ambitions? I heard from Senior Sister Lu that you wet your bed when you were 8 years old. The surrounding female disciples burst into laughter. Ding Yunzhong's face flushed red. This matter had been brought up again and again. It was too embarrassing. Ding Yunzhong said, Don't listen to that tigress's nonsense. She's making things up because she tried to pursue me back then. She failed, so she resented me. Ding, how dare you talk nonsense here? Do you believe that I won't chop you into pieces? As soon as Ding Yunzhong's voice fell, Lu's murderous cry came from afar. Swish! The female disciple surnamed Lu pulled out her sword and chased after Ding Yunzhong. Seeing Lu chasing after him, Ding Yunzhong did not dare to stay any longer. He turned around and fled. The weather was very cold. Even the female disciples of Immortal Snow Island were hiding in the depths of the palace, unwilling to come out. Many spirit beasts were galloping in the snow. Lin Feng saw several beautiful unicorns. He then walked out of the Xinyuan ancient starship. On the Immortal Snow Island, Lin Feng was quietly looking at the few unicorns. The unicorns had already gained intelligence. They were also looking at Lin Feng. In the depths of the island, a ball of holy light flew out. It was the holy light emitted from the unicorn's body. It was very beautiful and magnificent. A young girl rode out on a unicorn. She jumped down from her unicorn, and the other unicorns quickly ran towards the young girl, surrounding her. Lin Feng looked at this scene in shock. The unicorn was a very pure spirit beast. This kind of spirit beast would not come into contact with humans. Only the purest of girls could come into contact with unicorns. Since the girl was able to ride the unicorn out, it was obvious that the unicorn had accepted her. It was a charming young girl. She was quite young and wore a snow-white dress. In such cold weather, she was barefooted and did not seem to feel the cold at all. She was like a fairy in the snow, playing with a few unicorns in the snow. The young girl did not notice Lin Feng at first, but when she saw Lin Feng not far away, she blushed slightly. I am Lin Feng, the leader of the Dragon Gate. I have offended you, junior sister. Please forgive me. Lin Feng cupped his fists and apologized to the young girl. The young girl said in surprise, "So you are senior brother Lin? You has often heard the other senior sisters mention your name these days." "You is that your name?" Lin Feng asked. The young girl nodded with a red face and said, "My name is Xia Hanyue. I am a child that master picked up from the snow." The young girl seemed a little sad when she said this, but a smile quickly appeared on her face. "I am very happy here. I have a master, senior sisters, and everyone is very good to me," she said. She continued. She was a very cheerful girl. Her smile was very pure, even purer than the white snow. She had her own worries, and she would feel sad because she had been abandoned. However, she was always able to find something to be happy about that would allow her to walk out of her pain. She liked to bring happiness to the people around her, not to her melancholy. Lin Feng looked at the unicorns and said, "These unicorns seem to be very close to you." Xia Hanyue nodded and said, "Yes, they are my good friends." "Senior brother, do you want to ride a unicorn?" "I can do that too?" Lin Feng was astonished. "Of course." Xia Hanyue smiled. She leaned over and whispered something into the ear of a unicorn. At first, the unicorn shook its head, as if it did not agree with Xia Hanyue's suggestion. However, Xia Hanyue kept stroking the unicorn. She kept whispering something into the unicorn's ear. In the end, the unicorn finally agreed. Xia Hanyue jumped onto the unicorn's back first, then looked at Lin Feng and said, "Senior brother, you should get on as well." Lin Feng could not help but smile bitterly in his heart. This girl was simply too naive. Did she not know that men and women should not touch each other? Seeing the naivety in Xia Hanyue's eyes, Lin Feng's heart did not have any distracting thoughts. In his opinion, having any distracting thoughts towards such a naive you would be a blasphemy. He jumped onto the unicorn's back, and his body stuck close to Yuer's body. She could feel the masculine aura on Lin Feng's body. Yuer's beautiful face could not help but blush slightly. She had never had any contact with a man before, and now that she had physical contact with Lin Feng, she felt an indescribable shyness. The unicorn's cry woke Yuer up. Yuer patted the unicorn's head. Then, the unicorn soared into the sky and galloped towards the distance. The unicorn's speed was too fast. It was like a gust of wind. It was unbelievably fast. "Senior brother, Yuer knows a place. Let me take you there." "Only Yuer knows about that place." Yuer said mysteriously. "What place?" Lin Feng asked doubtfully. "Senior brother will know when we get there," Yuer said with a smile. Yuer leaned over and whispered a few words in the unicorn's ear. The unicorn changed its direction and rushed into the distance as fast as lightning. About 2 hours later, Lin Feng and Yuer arrived at this place. There were continuous mountains here. They were all huge snowy mountains. The huge snowy mountains were like giant dragons that resided on the ground. A total of 36 huge snowy mountains were gathered in this place. Icefield Dragon Vein. After seeing these huge mountains, Lin Feng's face revealed a shocked expression. These were 36 dragon veins. Dragon veins were rare. 36 dragon veins gathered together, that was even rarer. After so many years, Lin Feng had seen many places where dragon veins gathered. However, the place where the most dragon veins gathered only had 18 dragon veins. However, there were 36 dragon veins gathered here. It was too extraordinary. Chapter 2020. Whoosh, 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 a gust of wind swept over, causing Yuer's body to become unstable. Lin Feng hurriedly embraced Yuer's willow waist. "Thank you, senior brother," Yuer said with a blushing face. "Junior sister, you're welcome," Lin Feng said with a smile. He did not have any romantic thoughts, and his attention was currently focused on the surrounding dragon veins and powerful dragon qi. The 36 dragon veins emitted a powerful dragon qi. This dragon qi formed a hurricane. This caused Lin Feng to be extremely shocked, as he had never seen such a powerful dragon qi before. He looked towards the mountain range and saw that in the mountains, there were many dragons crawling on the ground. Those dragons emitted a powerful aura, as if they were true dragons from the immortal ancient era. These were not real dragons. They did not have flesh and blood. they were just spirit auras formed by these dragon veins. This place is extraordinary, Lin Feng said. In the depths of the mountain range, there is a dragon pool, Xia Hanyue said. Lin Feng was shocked. This dragon pool should be the place you, or wanted to bring him to. I wonder what's so special about this dragon pool? The unicorn passed through the hurricane formed by the dragon chi and arrived at the depths of the mountain range. In the depths of the mountain range, there was a dragon pool that was about 30 to 40 square meters in size. Inside the dragon pool, dragon chi rose and purple clouds soared into the sky. It was extremely extraordinary. This dragon pool was not simple. It made Lin Feng feel as if he was looking at an immortal pool. The unicorn stopped. Lin Feng and Xia Hanyue dismounted from the unicorn and walked towards the dragon pool. As they got closer to the dragon pool, Lin Feng felt that the temperature began to warm up. One had to know. The temperature here was extremely cold, reaching -7,000 to -8,000 degrees Celsius. However, the surroundings of the dragon pool were extremely warm, forming an extreme contrast with the surrounding temperature. This is the dragon pool formed by the gathering of the dragon veins essence. It contains the powerful energy of the dragon Tao source. Yu'er said. Lin Feng came to the dragon pool and inspected it. Just as Yu'er had said, this dragon pool contained the power of the dragon Tao source. The Tao source of dragons was also a powerful Tao source formed by the order of heaven and earth. It had a significant effect on the cultivation of cultivators. Junior sister, do you come here often? Lin Feng asked. Yu'er nodded and said with a red face, I will come to this place to cultivate. This is indeed a good place to cultivate. Lin Feng said with a smile. Senior brother, you can cultivate here. I'll wait for you outside. Yu'er said with a flushed face. To cultivate here, one naturally had to enter the dragon pool. Usually, one had to take off one's clothes. Although Yu'er was innocent, she understood many things. He must have thought of something. Therefore, she was very shy. Junior sister, you can go back first. You don't have to wait for me here. Lin Feng said. Yu'er giggled. Yu'er likes this place. Yu'er rode her unicorn and left the dragon pool. Lin Feng took off his clothes and jumped into the dragon pond. The temperature of the dragon lake was just right. It was very comfortable. After entering the dragon pond, he began to use the archaic dragonesque elephant art to absorb the Tao source of dragons in the dragon pond. As the archaic dragonesque elephant art circulated, the Tao source of dragons was continuously absorbed by Lin Feng. After absorbing the Tao source of dragons, Lin Feng's magic power began to become purer and purer. After spending about a day, the Tao source of dragons in the dragon pond was completely absorbed by Lin Feng. As for Lin Feng's cultivation, he directly rose from the first sky of True God to the second sky of True God. After his cultivation breakthrough, Lin Feng's face lit up with joy. Every time he broke through a level, his cultivation would increase greatly. It hadn't been long since he broke through to the True God realm. Lin Feng originally thought that it would be a while before his next breakthrough, but he didn't expect that his luck would be so good. He was brought to the dragon pond by Yu'er. Thus, he broke through another level. He came out of the dragon pond and put on his clothes. At this time, Lin Feng discovered that the dragon pond had produced some more Tao source of dragons. It was obvious that these Tao source of dragons could be produced continuously. When Lin Feng finished devouring the Tao source of dragons in the dragon pond, a new Tao source of dragons would be produced. Of course, to reach the previous storage capacity, it would take a while. Lin Feng left the dragon pond. He saw Yu'er sitting cross-legged on top of a dragon vein cultivating. The unicorn was lying beside Yu'er. As for Yu'er, she was seriously cultivating. The dragon chi in the 36 dragon veins turned into small dragons and flew towards Yu'er. Then, it was absorbed by Yu'er's body. Lin Feng could vaguely see that there seemed to be an immortal palace inside Yu'er's body, and all the dragon chi was absorbed by the immortal palace. Next, the dragon chi was then fed back to Yu'er. Seeing this scene, Lin Feng was extremely shocked. Yu'er was simply too extraordinary. She was probably hiding a lot of secrets. The next day, only then did Yu'er wake up from her cultivation. After seeing Lin Feng, she said with a smile, "Senior brother, did you gain anything from the dragon pond?" Lin Feng nodded and said, "The harvest is not bad. Thank you, junior sister, for bringing me here. Don't be so polite with Yuer. Otherwise, Yuer will be unhappy." Yuer snorted and said. Lin Feng smiled and rubbed Yuer's head. The two of them planned to leave. At this moment, a loud rumbling sound was heard. The ground was shaking violently. What happened? Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. "Senior brother, look." Yuer pointed at the huge dragon veins around them. At this moment, the huge dragon veins actually turned into huge dragons. These huge dragons began to swim on the ice plains. Dragon vein transformation. Lin Feng was shocked. He quickly grabbed Yuer's jade-like hand and flew into the air. The unicorn also flew into the air with the two of them. When a dragon vein transformed into a dragon, something evil must have happened. Lin Feng looked at the huge dragons on the ice plains with a bewildered expression. The gigantic dragons formed by the mountains were constantly changing their positions. Dragon formation. Lin Feng frowned slightly. The dragon vein transformed into a dragon and formed a dragon formation. It was too strange. Yuer was also bewildered. "I've been here so many times, but nothing like this has ever happened," Lin Feng said. "The dragon veins have changed. Something we don't know about must have happened." Rumble. Suddenly, the 36 huge dragons once again turned into 36 dragon veins. Next, in the center of the 36 dragon veins, the ground actually began to collapse. Seeing this scene, Lin Feng's eyes couldn't help but twitch violently. In the end, a huge ice cave appeared in the center of the dragon vein. That ice cave led to the depths of the earth. Chapter 2021. Lin Feng and Yuer looked down in bewilderment. The dragon vein had mutated, and such a deep passage had appeared, leading to the depths of the earth. What incredible thing was there in the depths of the earth? Lin Feng could not help but take a deep breath. He felt that there must have been a shocking change below. "Yuer, wait for me outside. I'll go down and take a look," Lin Feng said. He planned to explore the depths of the earth by himself, because everything below was unknown. Therefore, it was very likely that it would be very dangerous down there. Not bringing Yuer along. This was the best choice. However, Yuer said, "Senior brother, I'll go down with you. If there's any danger, we can take care of each other." Lin Feng had originally planned to refuse, but seeing the seriousness in Yuer's pure eyes, he could only nod. "You must be careful later," Lin Feng said. "Okay." Yuer nodded. Lin Feng and Yuer carefully entered the ice cave. The unicorn was left outside by Yuer. The passage of the ice cave was very deep, and as they went deeper into the ice cave, it became colder and colder. After walking for a quarter of an hour, they still had not reached the bottom. Lin Feng could not help but ask doubtfully, "Aren't we in the ice-field world? After walking for so long, we haven't seen any seawater. Isn't this ice layer too thick?" Yuer said, "Because of the climate and geographical environment, the ice layer in many parts of the ice-field world is often tens of thousands of meters, or even hundreds of thousands of meters deep." Lin Feng nodded, and the two continued to walk down. Rustle, rustle, rustle. Suddenly, Lin Feng heard a soft sound coming from the depths of the ice cave. It was as if something was quickly surging up from the depths of the ice cave. "Something's coming up, be careful," Lin Feng warned. Yuer nodded, looking a little nervous. Not long after, the two of them saw what was coming up. It was actually a kind of ice worm the size of a thumb. This ice worm was snow-white, like a spider, and was simply covering the sky and the earth. That's a swarm of Antarctic ice worms. They're terrifying. They can even devour giant gods. "Senior brother, we have to leave quickly. Once we're submerged by them, we'll die." Yuer recognized the densely packed ice worms, and her beautiful face turned as pale as paper. Lin Feng was naturally unwilling to retreat like this. He summoned 4 types of heaven flames. The purple earthcore flame, the black flame god incinerating flame, the netherworld flame, and the golden dragon divine flame all flew out. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 4 heavenly fires burned fiercely and shrouded the Antarctic ice worms. Fire conquers ice. The Antarctic ice worm was a type of spirit insect with the ice attribute. It was restrained by the heavenly fire. However, these Antarctic ice worms were truly powerful. Normally, corpses that died in such a cold place would not rot, but now, only bones were left. They were probably eaten by the Antarctic ice worms that they had seen before. As they continued to go deeper, they saw more and more bones. They wondered if the cultivators who had explored the world under the ice had died here. Lin Feng guessed that this was very likely. Finally, Lin Feng and Yue arrived at the deepest part of the world under the ice. The two of them looked at a huge tower that had appeared in the depths of the world in shock. The tower was about 100 meters tall, and it should be made of a mysterious type of bronze. However, the tower was now surrounded by a layer of ice. The ice layer froze the entire tower. "Senior brother, look at that place." Yue pointed at the top of the tower, where 3 corpses were hanging. The 3 corpses were very well preserved. They had been dead for countless years, but they had not decayed. What shocked Lin Feng was that the 3 women who had been hung to death were all peerless beauties. What a waste. Such beautiful women are actually hung to death here. Looking at the 3 beautiful women's corpses, Lin Feng could not help but wail in his heart. "Senior brother, why are there 3 women hanging outside the pagoda?" Yue asked, puzzled. Lin Feng shook his head. This frozen tower was incomparably strange. He could not tell the origin of this tower. "This is a 9-story demonic tower." The demon lord's voice faintly sounded. Chapter 2022. 9-story devil tower? What's that? Lin Feng asked curiously. The demon lord said, "If I remember correctly, this should be a sacrificial tower built by the primitive devil clan." Lin Feng naturally knew about the primitive devil clan. There were still traces of the primitive devil clan in the 9 prefectures underground world. The primitive devil clan was the oldest devil clan, and they were extremely powerful. There were even rumors that the Sky Devil clan and the Earth Devil clan were created by the primitive devil clan. Of course, Lin Feng wasn't sure if these rumors were true, but there was one thing he was sure of. The primitive devil clan had indeed enslaved the Sky Devil clan and the Earth Devil clan. The Earth Devil clan was relatively weak, so it was understandable that they were enslaved by the primitive devil clan. However, the Sky Devil clan was a very powerful clan. They had actually been enslaved by the primitive devil clan for countless years. From this, one could see how terrifying and powerful the primitive devil clan was. Therefore, anything that was related to the primitive devil clan was definitely not a small matter, just like the 9-story devil tower that the demon lord was talking about. However, Lin Feng immediately cursed in his heart. The primitive devil clan was too wicked. They actually hanged such a beautiful female cultivator. They really deserve to be stabbed. Lin Feng transmitted his voice. "Sacrificial tower? You're saying that this 9-story devil tower is a place where the primitive devil clan worships?" The demon lord nodded and said, "It's like this. The 9-story devil tower is a sacrificial tower in the primitive devil clan's sacred ground. It's equivalent to the primitive devil clan's sacred object. Over the long years, the primitive devil clan has been divided into several different branches. However, I don't know which branch of the primitive devil clan this 9-story devil tower was passed down from. However, I'm guessing that this branch is already extinct." Lin Feng couldn't help but stroke his chin. He thought of the primitive devil kingdom in the underground world. The primitive rock devil clan was indeed far weaker than before. Firstly, it was because of the extinction of the primitive devil clan. Secondly, it was because of the collapse of their bloodline. Any bloodline would become weaker and weaker with the passage of time. For example, the inheritance of an emperor's bloodline. The great emperor's children's bloodline was the strongest. When it came to the grandchildren's generation, the great emperor's bloodline would become thinner and thinner. After each generation, the great emperor's bloodline would become thinner and thinner until it completely disappeared and became an ordinary bloodline. Of course, there was no lack of people who had suddenly awakened the powerful bloodline of their ancestors. But ancestral awakening cultivators, it was simply too rare. How could this be? There were clearly no corpses here just now. Yue said with a trembling voice. The 9-floor demon pagoda was simply too demonic. Yue's heart was filled with endless fear. Actually, Yue wasn't the only one who was afraid. Lin Feng also felt goosebumps all over his body. He had been to many dangerous places and had experienced countless near-death experiences. However, this was the first time he had seen such a strange situation today. Lin Feng took out the myriad golden Buddha and gave it to Yue, telling him to hold this Buddhist treasure in his hands to protect himself. He then took out a kasaya and draped it over his body. Only then did he feel slightly more at ease. He said, "It's normal for some evil things to happen in a place like this. If you're afraid, then go out and wait for me." Yue shook her head and said, "I don't want to go out. I want to explore the 9th-floor demon pagoda with senior brother." Lin Feng said, "Be careful and observe your surroundings. We can't fall into a trap. If we die here, then we'll cry but have no tears." Yue hurriedly nodded and walked towards the 2nd floor of the 9th-floor demon pagoda with Lin Feng. When they arrived at the 2nd floor's staircase, they heard a crunching sound. It sounded like the sound of food being chewed. When they heard this sound, Lin Feng and Yue's expressions changed drastically. Could there be some kind of living creature on the 2nd floor? However, when they listened carefully to the sound of chewing disappeared. Could it be that I heard wrong? Lin Feng couldn't help but feel suspicious. Yue also had a puzzled expression. The two of them took a deep breath and walked towards the 2nd floor. When they arrived at the 2nd floor, they discovered that it was pitch black. They couldn't even see their fingers if they stretched out their hands. Chapter 2023. Lin Feng held on to Yue's hand and went to the 2nd floor. Logically speaking, even in the dark, cultivators would be able to see in the dark. However, in the dark world of the 2nd floor of the 9th-floor demon pagoda, Lin Feng and Yue could not see anything. Their line of sight was obscured by the darkness. It was as if he had become blind. Lin Feng tried to use his spiritual will to sense what was inside the 2nd floor of the demon pagoda. What a pity. Even his spiritual will did not gain anything from the 2nd floor of the demon pagoda. The 2nd floor isolated the senses of his spiritual will. "Senior brother, this place is so strange. I feel like something is hiding in the dark, watching the two of us," Yue said with a trembling voice. Yue's perception ability was even stronger than Lin Feng's. Even Lin Feng admired this point. Now that Yue said that there was something watching them in the dark, Lin Feng did not doubt it at all. Lin Feng took out the night pearl, wanting to illuminate the 2nd floor of the demon pagoda. However, the strange thing was that the night pearl had also turned pitch black on the 2nd floor of the demon pagoda. Lin Feng then wanted to release the sky fire. However, after trying several times, he was unable to release the sky fire from his body. The 2nd floor of the demon pagoda was extremely demonic, causing Lin Feng's expression to become slightly more serious. "Let's go. Let's hurry to the 3rd floor," Lin Feng said as he held on to Yue's hand and walked forward in the darkness. He recalled where the 1st floor of the stairs appeared. Then, in the darkness, he walked in the general direction. Suddenly, Lin Feng realized that he had touched something. He reached out his hand to touch it. He felt that he had touched a face. This caused him to be greatly alarmed as he hurriedly pulled Yue back. "Senior brother, what's wrong?" Yue asked curiously. Lin Feng said in a deep voice, "Just now, I touched a human face." Yue's beautiful face turned pale with fright. Creak, creak. The sound of chewing food rang out once again, resounding throughout the 2nd floor of the demon pagoda. It was as if it was right beside him. In the darkness, there seemed to be a pair of cold eyes looking over. "Senior brother, there really is something unclean," Yue said with a trembling voice. Her body was also trembling slightly. Obviously, she was frightened. A cold and gloomy aura swept over. It enveloped Lin Feng and Yue. The unknown creature in the darkness seemed to be approaching the two of them. Buzz. At this time, the 1,000-form golden Buddha in Yue's hand suddenly blossomed with boundless Buddhist light. Dazzling Buddhist light surged out, enveloping Lin Feng and Yue. When the light of Buddha descended, the darkness began to disperse. Lin Feng and Yue let out a long sigh. When the darkness completely dissipated, Lin Feng discovered that the 2nd floor of the Devil Pagoda was very spacious. Other than a few stone statues, there was nothing else. These stone statues were all statues of the ancient demon race. Could the thing I touched earlier be the face of the stone statue? Lin Feng muttered in his heart. Go. Let's go up and take a look. Lin Feng continued. Yue nodded and walked with Lin Feng to the third floor of the Devil Pagoda. The third floor of the Devil Pagoda was decorated like a small temple. An ancient demon was enshrined in the middle. This ancient demon had 1,000 eyes and 1,000 hands. It was incomparably evil. It should be an expert of the ancient demon race. In front of the demon statue was a huge cauldron. The huge cauldron emitted waves of fishy smell. Lin Feng and Yue walked over and tiptoed to look at the huge cauldron. Yue immediately covered her mouth and retched. Lin Feng also felt a little nauseous. The cauldron was filled with fresh blood, and there were also 9 women's heads inside. The blood here hasn't dried up yet. Lin Feng frowned slightly. He guessed that this blood should be the blood of the ancient demon race, or the ancient demon race. The ancient demon race. It was the most ancient race. Legend had it that this race possessed both the power of the ancient demon race and the power of the ancient demon race. Apart from the ancient demon race, there was another powerful race called the ancient demon race. Just like the ancient demon race was also abnormally powerful. The blood of the ancient demon race would never dry up. These two races had not appeared in the world for many years. No one knew if they still existed in the world. The blood in the huge cauldron had not dried up after so many years. Apart from the blood of these two races, Lin Feng could not think of any other race's blood that had not dried up after so many years. The ancient demon cauldron. It's actually this treasure. It's a supreme treasure of the ancient demon race. The demon lord said when he saw the ancient cauldron. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. The ancient demon cauldron? What's so special about this cauldron? The demon lord said. It said that the ancient demon cauldron was forged by the ancient demon race's ancestors after searching for primordial demonic stones. It has immortal runes imprinted on it. Once the immortal runes are activated, this treasure can refine a great emperor to death. Lin Feng sucked in a breath of cold air. Wasn't this treasure too terrifying? It was so powerful that it was simply inconceivable. Isn't this cauldron a little too tyrannical? Said Lin Feng telepathically. The demon lord said, I don't know if the rumors are true, but even if they are, refining a great emperor to death isn't that easy. First of all, you have to suppress the great emperor within the ancient demon cauldron. Only then can you refine a great emperor to death, but suppressing a great emperor is an extremely difficult task. Lin Feng said, but for the ancient demon race's ancestor who forged this treasure, it should have been possible. The demon lord said, that's right. I heard that after the ancient demon race's ancestor forged the ancient demon cauldron, he captured divine dragons, phoenixes, azure wands, white tigers, and other sacred beasts. He used their sacred blood as raw materials to refine pills. He even suppressed a great emperor and refined him into a pill. He refined a great emperor into a pill? That's too savage. Lin Feng's expression was grave. The ancient demon race's ancestor is unimaginably terrifying. In the past, when this race was at its peak, they even caused the celestial realm to fall. The demon lord said, the ancient demon cauldron was extremely precious. Lin Feng took out a spatial bottle and stored the smelly blood and the 9 women's heads inside. He then casually tossed the bottle to the ground. He then put the ancient demon cauldron away. This was a priceless treasure. Being able to obtain such a treasure made this trip worthwhile. Lin Feng and Yue continued to walk towards the 4th level of the tower. When they arrived, they felt their scalps go numb. There were hundreds of corpses nailed to the walls of the 4th level. They were the cultivators who had been nailed to death. Their bodies hadn't decayed. These people had been dead for who knew how many years. Their bodies had been preserved so well. They also didn't know what level of experts these people had been when they were alive. Why are there so many corpses nailed to the walls? Yue asked, her face pale. Lin Feng said, something terrifying must have happened here in the past. Perhaps the extinction of the ancient demon race had something to do with it. Yes, this place is too strange. Yue nodded. Lin Feng's eyes were fixed on the corpses' dangling arms. Many of them had storage rings on their hands. Hee, These storage rings are too cheap for us. Junior sister, wait here for a moment. I'll go collect them all. Lin Feng grinned and walked towards one of the corpses. Chapter 2024. Lin Feng walked towards the corpse of a strong human cultivator. It was a middle-aged man who looked dignified and awe-inspiring. Even though he had been dead for many years, he still had the aura of a ruler. He must have been a powerful expert when he was alive. Senior, it's such a waste for you to die here. Let me take your treasures. Of course, don't worry. I'll burn some paper money for you. If you like beautiful women, I'll burn some paper dolls so you can enjoy life in the afterlife, said Lin Feng. Lin Feng prayed in his heart as he approached the corpse. However, when he reached the corpse, numerous runes suddenly appeared on the spear. When he saw those runes, Lin Feng's expression changed. He had seen those runes before. They were the underworld runes. The spear that had killed the human expert was actually a weapon from the underworld. How unexpected! When the underworld runes appeared, the underworld weapon released a wave of killing intent that swept towards Lin Feng. Senior brother, be careful. Yu Er's expression changed. She couldn't help but cry out. Lin Feng hurriedly used his great defensive technique to condense a defensive crystal wall to block the attack. Pooh! However, the killing intent was too powerful. It tore through Lin Feng's defensive crystal wall like it was tofu and continued towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng's expression turned grave. He didn't dare hesitate and hurriedly took out the Death God armor. Clang! At that moment, the deadly qi bombarded Lin Feng's body, but the Death God armor blocked it. Lin Feng's body was blown away. Wah! He couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Fortunately, the attack didn't take his life. How terrifying! Lin Feng crawled up from the ground. Senior brother, are you all right? Yu Er asked worriedly. I'm fine. You don't have to worry. Lin Feng rubbed Yu Er's head. Lin Feng looked at the netherworld weapon in shock. It looked so ordinary, but wasn't it a little too powerful? Even Lin Feng felt his hair stand on end. Are the others also nether soldiers? Lin Feng looked at the other weapons and couldn't help but mutter. The dead experts were all nailed to death by the spears. Those spears looked similar, so Lin Feng guessed that those spears were also underworld weapons. Wouldn't it be a pity if I don't collect such a powerful treasure? Lin Feng muttered. He took out the heaven-devouring jar. He wanted to use the heaven-devouring jar to devour these netherworld soldiers. Lin Feng planned to devour them one by one. However, when the sky-swallowing jar's devouring power enveloped the first netherworld weapon, the netherworld weapon was still in a daze. That netherworld weapon vibrated with a terrifying energy wave, and the other netherworld weapons also began to vibrate with the same terrifying energy wave. Let's go. Lin Feng grabbed Yu Er's hand and rushed down the stairs. He didn't even have time to collect the heaven-devouring jar. Before opening it, he counted the nails on the coffin and found that there were actually 9 nails. 9. 9 again. Lin Feng was very sensitive to the number 9. The inheritance of the Celestial Master Path told him that the number 9 was very sensitive. Many evil things were related to the number 9. The ancient sacred emperor was known as the 9 Supremes. Until the appearance of the 100 Saints, the 9 Supremes were reduced to the 9 Supremes. The reason for this was because the number 9 was too evil. When 2 9s were placed together, it was even more evil. Therefore, when he saw the 9 nails on the coffin, Lin Feng felt a little uneasy. However, Lin Feng was also a bold person. He took a deep breath and suppressed the uneasiness in his heart. Then, he began to pry open the nails. Soon, the first nail was pried open by Lin Feng. However, at that moment, wisps of black gas escaped from the gaps in the coffin. Chapter 2025. Senior brother. Look, black qi is coming out of the coffin. Yu Er exclaimed as she pointed at the black qi coming out of the coffin. Lin Feng stopped what he was doing and frowned as he looked at the black qi coming out of the coffin. He was worried that there might be some terrifying existence sealed inside the coffin. Demon Lord, what do you think? Lin Feng asked. Ancient coffin gathers souls. This coffin is not simple. I can teach you a talisman technique. Use your divine blood to write the talisman on the yellow talisman. Then use the talisman puppet to suppress the ancient coffin. If anything strange happens, you will have time to deal with it, Demon Lord said. Following that, a mass of information flowed into Lin Feng's mind. This mass of information contained the rune technique mentioned by the Demon Lord. Lin Feng took out a talisman, bit his finger, and started to write the rune. Senior brother, what are you doing? Yu'er looked at Lin Feng and asked in confusion. Lin Feng said as he wrote the rune. Runes written with divine blood can suppress evil spirits, demons, and monsters. Yu'er nodded as if she understood and continued to write the rune. This kind of rune was very complicated. The twisting and turning runes looked like scribbles. After the rune was finished, the talisman emitted waves of shocking energy. Lin Feng stuck the talisman on the coffin. Originally, there was still black qi coming out of the coffin's cracks. However, after the talisman was stuck on the coffin, no more black qi came out. Lin Feng was delighted when he saw this. The rune technique mentioned by the Demon Lord was indeed mysterious. Who knew how much of the Demon Lord's memories had been recovered? However, Lin Feng felt that the Demon Lord was even more mysterious than before. Whether it was his memories or his strength, he should have recovered to an extremely high level. Kacha. Lin Feng pried off the second stone nail. Soon, the third stone nail was pried off as well. Then the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, and the eighth. Not long after, only the last stone nail was left. Lin Feng couldn't help taking a deep breath. Only the last stone nail was left. Once it was pried open, the coffin could be opened. What was inside? It was about to be revealed. Yu'er clasped her hands together and muttered something as if she was praying. Lin Feng couldn't help but laugh. Does this little girl still believe in such things? He started to pry the ninth stone nail. Kacha. Lin Feng was pried at the ninth stone nail. Lin Feng opened the coffin. When the lid of the coffin was pushed open, he and Yu'er looked into the coffin. The two of them were shocked. Inside the coffin, there was a woman. This woman was wearing a long black dress, and her figure was very hot. She had a face so beautiful that it could take one's breath away. However, she was clearly not human. Lin Feng saw a rune on her forehead. It was the rune of the primordial demon race. Is she an expert of the primordial demon race? She was actually placed in a 9-story demon pagoda. I wonder where she came from. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. Senior brother. Her eyelashes are moving. Yu'er shouted in horror. Lin Feng came back to his senses and looked over. Sure enough, her eyelashes were moving. His expression changed abruptly. This woman had been sealed in the coffin for tens of thousands of years. How could her eyelashes move? Had she turned into a zombie? A zombie? Or something like a zombie? Swoosh, swoosh. The next moment, the woman opened her eyes. Her eyes were cold and emotionless. She looked at Lin Feng and Yu'er. *CK your sister. Exploding corpses. Lin Feng shouted in fright. He quickly closed the coffin again. Then, he wanted to nail the stone nail back. If that was the case, perhaps he could seal the woman again. Bang! However, a terrifying force blasted the coffin lid away. Even Lin Feng was sent flying. Clang! Lin Feng slammed heavily into the wall of the demon pagoda. His blood and qi roiled. He almost spat out a mouthful of blood. The woman tried to sit up in the coffin. However, all of a sudden, the talisman stuck on the coffin emitted an astonishing fluctuation. Then, a series of talisman characters flew out and directly suppressed the woman. The woman's body was suppressed by the runes. She couldn't get up. The woman began to struggle violently. Her cultivation was simply too terrifying. Clumps of demonic energy were emitted from her body. The demonic energy was corroding the runes. Crack, crack. The runes began to crack. Let's go. Lin Feng climbed up from the ground. He grabbed Yu'er's hand and quickly went downstairs. He had to leave before the woman broke the seal. Otherwise, it would be dangerous. Perhaps he might really die in this place. When Lin Feng and Yu'er arrived at the 5th level of the Demon Pagoda, they discovered a terrifying scene. The blue scorpion worms here had already awakened. Many of them were wriggling. Seeing this, Lin Feng and Yuber felt their scalps go numb. Lin Feng grabbed and rushed towards the staircase at full speed. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The densely packed blue scorpion worms rushed towards the two of them. If they were caught by these blue scorpion worms, only death would await them. At the moment of danger, Lin Feng quickly used the 4 types of skyfire to condense a ball of flame. Then, he took out the ball of flame. Bang! The ball of flame exploded, blasting the large group of blue scorpion worms back. The vitality of these blue scorpion worms was too tenacious. The explosion of the 4 heavenly flames only managed to kill a few blue scorpion beetles. Buzz, buzz. The densely packed blue scorpion worms quickly chased after Lin Feng and Yu. At the same time, inside the 6th level of the Demon Pagoda, whoosh, whoosh. The talisman that Lin Feng had written had actually spontaneously combusted, and the woman from the ancient devil clan had also broken free. The woman walked out of the coffin, turned into a ball of black mist, and flew downwards. Lin Feng grabbed Yu and quickly rushed downstairs. The blue scorpion worms behind them were about to catch up. The speed of the blue scorpion worms was simply too fast. The most terrifying thing was that Lin Feng saw a ball of black mist chasing after them. That woman had escaped. His face revealed a look of shock. Who knew how terrifying the cultivation of that woman from the ancient devil clan was? If she caught up, wouldn't that be a dead end? Currently, Lin Feng had already arrived at the 1st level of the Demon Pagoda. He grabbed Yu and quickly rushed outside. However, the speed of the black mist that the woman had transformed into was simply too fast. In a few breaths of time, she had caught up to Lin Feng and Yu, and then she enveloped Lin Feng and Yu. Senior brother, we're going to die. Yu was so scared that her face turned pale. Chapter 2026. The situation was extremely dangerous. It seemed like there was no way to avoid it. It was simply despairing. However, at this extremely dangerous moment, swoosh, with a flash of light, Lin Feng and Yu disappeared without a trace. At the crucial moment, Lin Feng used the heaven patching technique to avoid being devoured by the black fog. The black fog that the woman had transformed into wanted to chase after them. However, the Devil Tower's runes circled around and blocked the black fog. The black fog once again transformed into the woman's appearance. Looking at Lin Feng and Yu who were fleeing into the distance, the mysterious woman could not help but frown. The densely packed blue scorpion bugs were also unable to rush out of the Devil Tower. This demonic pagoda was very strange. It was as if no living being in the demonic pagoda could leave. Lin Feng and Yu left the underground world. When they came out, the ice cave directly collapsed and the passage to the underground world disappeared. At the same time, the 9-story Devil Tower in the underground world shook violently. Swoosh! With a flash of light, the 9-story Devil Tower disappeared without a trace. Lin Feng and Yu rode on the unicorn back to Immortal Snow Island. This experience left the two with lingering fear. However, now that they had come out alive, they could not help but feel incomparably excited when they recalled everything that had happened. Senior brother, I feel so uncomfortable. When they were about to return to Immortal Snow Island, Yu's body was completely leaning into Lin Feng's embrace. Her voice became a little weak. Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. He realized that Yu's body was starting to heat up. The weather was so cold, but Yu's body was boiling hot. What's going on? Lin Feng's expression became serious. Yu leaned into Lin Feng's embrace and said weakly, Senior brother, quickly bring me back. After saying this, Yu fainted in Lin Feng's embrace. Unicorn, hurry up, Lin Feng said. The unicorn was psychic. When it saw Yu fainting, it increased its speed to the fastest. Lin Feng checked Yu's body. He checked Yu's body but did not find anything abnormal. This made him extremely puzzled. How could there be no reason for Yu's body to become so hot? Lin Feng was unwilling to give up and checked again, but he still couldn't find any reason. Lin Feng could not help but frown. He transmitted his voice to the Demon Lord. Demon Lord, can you help me take a look at Yu? She has been hit by the soul planting technique. The demon lord said, "Soul planting technique? What is this? Could it be related to the nine-floored devil tower?" Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. Just by hearing this name, he felt that it was no small matter. This made him extremely anxious. Yuera was extremely pure and lovable. If something really happened to her, Lin Feng would definitely be extremely sad. The demon lord said, "It has nothing to do with the nine-floored devil tower. She has been hit by the soul planting technique for a few years now. These soul planting techniques are extremely tyrannical, and they are somewhat similar to possession techniques, but many times stronger. Possession techniques allow the soul to directly destroy another person's soul and take over their body. As for soul planting technique, it allows the soul to transform one soul into a soul seed and plant it in another person's soul. The longer the time, the higher the compatibility between the soul seed and the target soul will become, and the harder it will be to destroy the soul seed. The soul seed can awaken at any time and then take over the target's body. It can even steal the target's memories, divine abilities, and so on. Possession techniques allow the target to forcefully take over the body, so it will not be compatible with the target's soul. That is to say, the target's body and soul will clash. However, soul planting techniques allow the soul seed to fuse with the target's soul, so the soul seed will constantly adapt to the target's body. Naturally, there won't be any problems with compatibility. Lin Feng's expression became extremely unsightly. Based on the demon lord's words, didn't that mean that Yu Er's current situation was extremely dangerous? Someone had planted a soul in her? Which bastard was so wicked? Who had planted a soul-planting technique in Yu Er's soul? Lin Feng said, "Demon Lord, you must have a way to deal with this soul-planting technique, right?" "There is no solution," the demon lord said. "No way. Then won't Yu Er die for sure?" Lin Feng said gloomily. "Who knows what will happen in the future? If the soul seed in this little girl's soul never awakens, then there won't be any problems. But once it awakens, it basically means that her body will be taken away, and her soul will be devoured by others." The demon lord said, "Is there really no way to deal with soul-planting technique?" Lin Feng asked, unwilling to give up. "Actually, it's not completely impossible. I remember that there was a sect called the Soul Master Dao sect. This sect was proficient in soul-planting technique. If you want to deal with something, you must first understand it. For example, if you want to deal with Yu Er's soul-planting technique, you must first understand what soul-planting technique is. If you can find the Soul Master Dao's inheritance, you might be able to find a way to deal with soul-planting technique. However, the Soul Master Dao disappeared countless years ago, and no one knows if its legacy has been passed down. Thus, it is extremely difficult to find the Soul Master Dao's inheritance." The demon lord said, "The rules are our only hope," whispered Lin Feng. The unicorn carried Lin Feng and Yu Er back to Immortal Snow Island. They landed in front of a palace in the depths of the island. When Lu saw Lin Feng carrying Yu Er down from the unicorn, she quickly led a group of female disciples over. "Senior brother, what happened to junior sister Yu Er?" the female disciple asked. Lin Feng said, "Her body is boiling. Do you have a way to deal with it?" "Senior brother, please follow me," said the female disciple whose family name was Lu. She led the way and brought Lin Feng to a mountain in the depths of the celestial snow island. There was a cold pond in the middle of the mountain. "Senior brother, please put junior sister Yu Er in the cold pond," the female disciple said. Lin Feng nodded and put Yu Er in the cold pond. This was a method of using extreme cold to restrain extreme fire. It was a type of yin and yang. After being put in the cold pond, Yu Er's expression relaxed a lot. However, she still didn't wake up. Lin Feng asked, "How often does this happen to Yu Er?" Originally, the interval was relatively long. It would happen once every few years, but recently, it has become more frequent. It happens once every 3 or 4 months. Moreover, her body is getting hotter and hotter, so it is becoming more and more difficult to suppress it, the female disciple said. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. The interval between Yu Er's body becoming hotter and hotter was getting shorter and shorter. This meant that the soul seed planted in her soul was gradually recovering. Chapter 2027. Yu Er murmured. Her long eyelashes fluttered a few times before she opened her eyes. She saw Lin Feng and the female disciple surnamed Lu standing next to the cold pond and showed an embarrassed expression. Lin Feng said, "It's good that you're fine. I'll go out and wait for you." Yu was wet and needed to change her clothes, so Lin Feng gave her some privacy. "Senior brother Lin is a confident person," said the female disciple surnamed Lu. Yu said, "Senior brother Lin is a good person. Little girl, are you in love?" The female disciple surnamed Lu said with a smile, "Of course not." Yu blushed and didn't dare to look at Lu. Although Lu didn't have a man, she more or less knew about the relationship between men and women. Seeing Yu acting like a little girl, she naturally knew that Yu was in love. She couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. Lin Feng was such an excellent man that any woman would find it hard to refuse. Even she had some admiration for Lin Feng, but the female disciple surnamed Lu knew. This admiration could only be kept in the bottom of her heart forever and couldn't be spoken out. There was a huge difference between her and Lin Feng's social status. Yu changed into clean clothes and walked out with the female disciple surnamed Lu. Seeing that Yu had recovered, Lin Feng was temporarily relieved. Lin Feng knew about the matter of saving Yu. Now, he could only wait for the news of the Soul Master Dao sect's inheritance. "Go back and have a good rest. Take care of your body." Lin Feng rubbed Yu's head lovingly. Yu blushed and nodded. After waiting for another 3 days, Lin Feng finally got the news that Xuan Yinxiu had come out of seclusion. After coming out of seclusion, Xuan Yinxiu went to see Yu. Obviously, he knew that there was a problem with Yu's body. Besides, the female disciple whose family name was Lu came to inform Lin Feng that he could go and see the ancestor in the evening. Said Lin Feng. At night, the female disciple, whose family name was Lu, brought Lin Feng to Xuan Miaoqiu's living room. Xuan Yinxiu was over 3 million years old and could be considered an old antique. But in fact, Xuan Yinxiu didn't look old from his appearance. She looked like she was in her 30s. She had a voluptuous figure and was extremely beautiful. She could be considered a peerless beauty. "Junior Lin Feng greets Senior." Lin Feng bowed. Xuan Yinxiu replied, "Sect leader Lin, you're too polite." "It's my duty as a junior," Lin said. Xuan Yinxiu said, "Please take a seat, Master Lin." Xuan Yinxiu nodded and sat. Xuan Yinxiu said, "Thank you, Master Lin, for sending Yu back to the immortal snow island in time. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable." Said Lin Feng, "That's what I should do, Master. But there is one thing I don't know if you know." "What is it?" Xuan Yinxiu asked. "There's something wrong with Yu's body," Lin Feng said. Xuan Yinxiu sighed. "A soul-planting technique?" Lin Feng asked. "Senior, do you have a solution?" "I can only think of a way to suppress it, but I can't think of a way to deal with it." Xuan Yinxiu looked sad and said, "Yu is a pitiful girl. She was abandoned when she was young and had a soul-planting technique. But she's always been strong and optimistic. She's really precious." Lin Feng asked, "Do you have any clues about Yu's background?" Xuan Yinxiu said, "I didn't find any valuable clues. The world is dangerous, so there are too many abandoned children. It's very difficult to find their relatives." Lin Feng said, "I know a way to save Yu. Sect Master Lin knows about this?" Xuan Yinxiu's eyes lit up. Lin Feng said, "There's an ancient sect called the Soul Master Dao sect. They have all kinds of soul-planting techniques. If you can find the Soul Master Dao sect's inheritance, you might be able to find a way to deal with the soul-planting technique. I'll send people to find out more about the Soul Master Dao sect. Senior, you can also use your connections to find out more." Xuan Yinxiu nodded and said, "Thank you for telling me about this. Senior, please don't be so polite. Yu and I are good friends, so I'm obliged to help her," Lin Feng said. "It's Yu's honor to be your friend," Xuan Yinxiu said. Lin Feng felt that it was about time to get to the point of his visit to Immortal Snow Island. After pondering for a moment, Lin Feng said, "Actually, I took the liberty to visit you because I have something I need your help with." "What is it?" Xuan Yinxiu asked. She didn't immediately agree to Lin Feng's request. She wanted to hear it first before making a decision. Said Lin Feng, "After I founded the Dragon Sect, it's been doing well. You probably know one of my subordinates, His name is Ding Yunzhong. He recommended one Ziran and Zhuge to me. If those two masters joined the dragon sect, it would be incredible. I wanted to talk to them about it, but they didn't want to see me. I hope Master Xue can help me, said Lin Feng. Xuan Yinxiu's expression changed when she heard about Wen Ziran and Zhuge Chunyi. After so many years of entanglement, so many things had happened between the two of them. When Ding Yunzhong's ancestor was still alive, he would gather everyone together from time to time. At that time, there was still some contact. However, ever since Ding Yunzhong's ancestor passed away, Xuan Yinxiu stopped contacting Wen Ziran and Zhuge Chunyi. For some reason, Wen Ziran and Zhuge Chunyi didn't contact Xuan Yinxiu either. The relationship between the two sides faded just like that. I'm afraid I can't help sect leader Lin with this matter, Xuan Yinxiu said. Many times, Xuan Yinxiu also asked herself, why did her life become like this? However, it seemed that nothing could be changed. The ignorant feelings of youth had long since become a thing of the past. There were many things that Xuan Yinxiu chose to keep in the bottom of her heart, no longer touching or thinking about. Lin Feng said, does Senior want to hear a story? Xuan Yinxiu said, you can tell me. When I was young, my mother was not by my side, and my father's health was also very problematic, so it was always third uncle and third aunt who took care of me. Later, when I grew up, I wholeheartedly wanted to bring glory to my ancestors, so I spent all those years outside to gain experience and spent most of my time away from my family. That year, when I returned to the family, my father left the family due to some matters. Since then, the two of us, father and son, have never seen each other again. Moreover, at that time, the family underwent a drastic change, and many family members died. Third uncle was killed in order to save me, and I could only watch as third uncle died in front of me, but I was powerless to do anything. Chapter 2028. Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. Everyone knows how to talk about principles, but only those who have personally experienced them know that some principles are correct. There's nothing in this world that can't be crossed. We should cherish our family and friends because we don't know when we'll find that they're no longer around when we want to cherish them. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel sad when he thought about his third uncle, who had died to save him, and Hua Yihan, who had died to save him in the ancient city. I've made a fool of myself in front of you. Lin Feng wiped away his tears and said embarrassedly. Xuan Yangqiu said, Sect leader Lin, you're an emotional person. How could I make fun of you? Lin Feng said, as a junior, there are some things that I shouldn't say, but as a junior, there are some things that I really want to say. I've heard from Ding Yunzhong that you've been friends for so many years. No matter what you've gone through, the friendship between fellow sect members is still there. Regardless of whether you agree to let me introduce Senior Wan and Senior Zhuge, there's one thing that I hope to see. Senior Xue, Senior Wan, and Senior Zhuge reconcile. I won't disturb you any longer, so I'll take my leave now. Lin Feng bowed to Xuan Yangqiu and turned to leave. Xuan Yangqiu's expression kept changing. When she saw that Lin Feng was about to leave, she said, all right, I'll go with you, but whether or not you can persuade Senior Wan and Senior Zhuge will depend on your own ability. I won't interfere with their decision. Lin Feng was overjoyed and said, thank you, Senior. I won't make things difficult for you. 10 days later, Lin Feng came to Ice Serpent Island again. Senior Wan, Senior Zhuge, hurry up and open the seal. I've brought someone to see you. Lin Feng shouted from outside the formation. When Ziran and Zhuge Chunyi saw the situation outside through the mountain and river mirror, when they saw that Lin Feng had returned, they couldn't help but roll their eyes. Why are you here again? Do you want to be thrown out again? Zhuge Chunyi snappily said, Seniors, this junior is opening the way for someone this time. An old friend has come to see you. Seniors, please open the restriction and quickly come out to greet him. Otherwise, when that old friend leaves, it will be too late for you to regret it. Lin Feng continued. When Ziran and Zhuge Chunyi couldn't help but sneer at Lin Feng. When Ziran said, Brat, what nonsense are you spouting? Looks like you won't shed tears until you see the coffin. Since you're asking for it, don't blame us for teaching you a lesson. As when Ziran spoke, he was about to attack. A woman walked in from outside. This woman was none other than Xuan Yinxiu. Seeing Xue Wanqiu coming in, Lin Feng hurriedly ran to Xue Wanqiu's side. It seems like you don't welcome me. Since that's the case, I won't disturb you any longer, said Lin Feng. Xue Wanqiu said faintly. When he saw Xue Wanqiu, when Xiren and Zhuge Qinyi were completely stunned on the spot, their faces were filled with disbelief. The two didn't even have time to put on their shoes before they ran out of the cave. Junior sister, it's our fault. Junior sister, please don't be angry. Junior sister, it's our fault for being blind. Junior sister, please calm down. After when Xiren and Zhuge Qinyi ran out, they kept apologizing. They didn't look like giant God Realm experts at all. He was like a child who had done something wrong, full of regret. Lin Feng said in his heart, evil people will eventually be dealt with by evil people. These two old scoundrels also had a day like this. Looking at them bowing and lowering their heads, Lin Feng thought, it felt so good. Lin Feng couldn't help but grin. Xue Wanqiu looked at when Xiren and Zhuge Qinyi. She had too many complaints in her heart. Now, she saw that when Xiren and Zhuge Qinyi's temples were already white. She couldn't help but sigh. Everyone was old. Yes, just as sect leader Lin said. Why couldn't they get over it? Have you been well all these years? Xue Wanqiu asked with a trembling voice. Yes, we've been well. No, we haven't been well. When Xiren and Zhuge Qinyi started talking incoherently, the two of them were so excited that they couldn't believe that all of this was real. Lin Feng said, seniors, this isn't a good place to talk. Let's go inside. Yes. Junior sister, let's go inside and rest. When Xiren and Zhuge Qinyi quickly said, Xue Wanqiu nodded, and the four of them entered when Xiren and Zhuge Qinyi's cave. The two of them had tidied up the cave so well that not a speck of dust could be seen. Lin Feng said, seniors, please feel free to talk about the past. Just pretend that I'm not here. When Xiren, Zhuge Qinyi, and Xue Wanqiu really pretended that Lin Feng wasn't there. They sat together and talked about many things, including the past. Sometimes, when they talked about something emotional, they couldn't help but shed silent tears. Xue Wanqiu brought up Lin Feng's matter at the right time. When Xiren and Zhuge Qinyi muttered to themselves, they naturally knew why Lin Feng had come. They were all old foxes. Each and every one of Lin Feng's movements was clearly seen by them. When Lin Feng heard Xue Wanqiu talk about him, he said, Master, the Dragon Gate is changing every day. If you two join us, we'll definitely become the most powerful sect in the world, said Xue Wanqiu. When Xiren said, we were able to get back together with junior sister Xue thanks to sect leader Lin, but that's a separate matter. Sect leader Lin wants to invite us to join the Dragon Gate, but we don't have that intention. Zhuge Qinyi nodded and said, we've always been carefree. We don't want to join any power. Before coming, Lin Feng knew that it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens to persuade when Xiren and Zhuge Qinyi to join the Dragon Gate. Therefore, when he saw when Xiren and Zhuge Qinyi's attitude, he was surprised. He didn't find it strange. In fact, he felt that it was normal. Lin Feng said, Junior knows that you two seniors are immortals and don't like being restricted. Therefore, you're not interested in joining other powers. Today, Junior wants to say 3 things. If you two seniors think that Junior's words are reasonable, I hope that you can consider them carefully. If you don't think that Junior's words are reasonable, then I won't force you. I'll leave immediately. All right, let's hear it. When Xiren and Zhuge Qinyi nodded, Xue Wanqiu looked at Lin Feng curiously. He didn't know what Lin Feng wanted to say. Chapter 2029. Lin Feng said, although the 9 provinces seems peaceful, it's actually very turbulent. When the alien races keep coming to the 9 provinces, it will definitely intensify all kinds of conflicts. In addition, many factions in the 9 provinces already have deep conflicts, but they're just hiding. How long can this situation last? For example, the Red World Fairy and the Taishang Immortal Sect will have a decisive battle sooner or later. When that time comes, it won't just be a battle between 2 sects, it will definitely involve countless factions. That's the first reason I want to talk about. The 9 provinces will definitely descend into chaos, and before that happens, we should do our best to control as much power as possible. That's why I set up the Dragon's Gate in the sea region and recruited people. If we wait until the 9 provinces truly descend into chaos, it'll be too late to recruit people. Only when we have enough power in our hands will we be able to survive better. Although the 2 of you are currently in seclusion, I'm sure you have many clansmen, right? When chaos arrives, even if the 2 of you are extremely powerful, it'll be very difficult for you to protect your clansmen. At that time, you need a powerful faction to back you up. In this chaotic world, who would dare to provoke you if you want to be a hegemon? When the time comes, no one will dare to provoke you, and you'll be able to protect your clansmen. The second reason I want to talk about is that it's related to your own fate. Seniors, both of you are giant gods, but I'm sure you know that breaking through from the giant god realm to the quasi-emperor realm, or even the emperor realm after that, is as difficult as ascending to the heavens. This is related to luck. Seniors, have you heard of this before? Lin Feng looked at Wenziren and Zhuge Chunyi. The 2 of them asked at the same time, "What's saying?" "Rise to the occasion," Lin Feng said. "What does that mean?" The 2 of them frowned. Even Shuan Yinxiu frowned. Wenziren, Zhuge Chunyi, and Shuan Yinxiu didn't understand, but Lin Feng didn't find it strange. The first time he heard it was from Shui Linglong, and the second time was from the Demon Lord. It was only after the Demon Lord became a great emperor that he understood the profundity of this sentence. Lin Feng said, "Since ancient times, there have been very few Emperor Realm experts. This is because, in order to become an Emperor Realm expert, one has to meet a very important condition. That is to become an Emperor Realm expert. In order to become an Emperor Realm expert, one has to constantly absorb the Qi of heaven and earth. However, I'm sure seniors know that the Qi of heaven and earth is the most difficult thing to absorb. If one doesn't have enough Qi of heaven and earth, they won't be able to continue breaking through. Why is it that the older one gets, the harder it is to break through? That's because once a person ages, their fate will decline as well, and breaking through will become even more difficult. That's why we have to seize as much fate as possible. I started cultivating when I was 6 years old. Up until now, I have been cultivating for 30 years. The reason why I am able to achieve what I have now is because of my luck." Hearing this, Wenziren, Zhuge Chunyi, and Shuai Yangqiu's expressions turned solemn. Lin Feng had been cultivating for 30 years. He had walked a path that countless people might not be able to complete in their entire lives. And the most important thing was that Lin Feng's attainments in the field of formations made Wenziren, a formation grandmaster, exclaim in admiration. Therefore, Lin Feng was indeed a person with great luck. This world was originally unfair. Some people were born with wealth and glory, while others were destined to live a poor life. Some people were born with great luck, while others were born with bad luck. But no matter what the reason was, Lin Feng was a person with great luck. But Lin Feng's luck, it could indeed be described as monstrous luck. Lin Feng continued, "Seniors, you have been cultivating for more than 3 million years, but you are still stuck in the giant god realm, unable to break through. Although there are many reasons, there is one that must be mentioned, and that is that your fate is not enough. I'm sure you have heard of the ancient great emperors. Regardless of their cultivation talent, they did not become great emperors at a very young age. Most of them became great emperors at a very young age. Isn't there a reason for this? Is this what you mean by born with the times?" Shuai Yangqiu asked. Lin Feng nodded and said, "That's right. This is called born with the times." Why were those ancient great emperors able to become great emperors at a very young age, instead of cultivating for tens of thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years, millions of years, or even tens of millions of years? It's because those ancient great emperors knew how to gather fate. They knew how to devour the fate of heaven and earth, so they became characters born with the times. Wenziren said, "The method of devouring fate doesn't seem to be a secret that can't be passed on." Lin Feng said, "That's right. The method of devouring fate isn't a secret that can't be passed on. However, I would like to ask, how long does it take for Senior One to devour a strand of fate?" This, Wenziren frowned. Wenziren frowned slightly. He needed at least 7 days, and at most half a month to absorb a strand of fate. The speed of devouring fate could be described as slow. Even giant gods took such a long time to absorb fate, let alone cultivators of other realms. Lin Feng smiled. "If you don't have enough luck, You need to be with someone who has a lot of luck. People who have a lot of luck can change your luck and make your luck become stronger and stronger, said Lin Feng. Obviously, if you two seniors are by my side, your fate will gradually improve under the influence of my fate. In the future, your fate will become endless. Although I dare not say that you two seniors will break through to the Great Emperor realm, at the very least, you will break through to the Quasi-Emperor realm, right? When Xiren and Zhuge Chunyi sank into deep thought, Shuiliangqiu was also pondering Lin Feng's words. Lin Feng continued, the first and second reasons I mentioned aren't the most important ones. The third reason is the most important one. The three of them were shocked. They hadn't thought that the two reasons Lin Feng had mentioned were only secondary reasons. What was the most important reason? The three of them looked at Lin Feng at the same time. At that moment, they saw Lin Feng stand up. Rumble. Lin Feng's body. His 5 devouring martial spirits began to circulate. Then, they turned into a huge black hole. Lin Feng stood inside the black hole. He looked at the ancestor of the sovereign emperor clan. This is, when Xiren, Zhuge Chunyi, and Shuiliangqiu were shocked. They all stood up, unable to calm down. Lin Feng said, my ancestor is the oldest sovereign emperor clan. My ancestor. He awakened Pango, and that's how he created the world. My ancestor awakened Yuhua, and that's how she created all living things. My ancestor was above Xiantian life forms. Before the universe was created, my ancestor was already born. Now, I've awakened my ancestor's bloodline. Sooner or later, I'll become a great emperor, or even an immortal. If I become an immortal, even if you don't have enough fate, I can still change your fates for you. I'll make you people who are destined to be great emperors one day. Chapter 2030. The Sovereign Imperial Clan. You're actually a descendant of the legendary Sovereign Imperial Clan? Everyone stared at Lin Feng in shock. They hadn't expected Lin Feng to have such a great background. The Sovereign Imperial Clan had enjoyed too much glory over the long years. There were also too many legends about them. However, many people believed that the Sovereign Imperial Clan had already disappeared in the river of time. Now that Lin Feng had appeared, when Xiren, Zhuge Chunyi, and Shuiliangqiu finally realized that there were still members of the Sovereign Imperial Clan in the world. They finally understood why Lin Feng had achieved so much at such a young age. His background was simply too great. In the past, even great emperors had to kowtow to the ancestors of the Sovereign Imperial Clan. Even immortals had to bow to the ancestors of the Sovereign Imperial Clan. This was the Sovereign Imperial Clan. It was a clan that had borne too much glory. Many people had once thought that the Sovereign Imperial Clan was only a race of legends. The legends of the Sovereign Imperial Clan. They were all just legends. But now, Lin Feng had revealed that he was a descendant of the Sovereign Imperial Clan. How could they not be shocked? I hope that the two seniors can seriously consider this junior's suggestion, Lin Feng said. When Xiren and Zhuge Chunyi exchanged glances, they were indeed tempted and wanted to join Lin Feng. However, the two of them were still hesitant. So what if Lin Feng was a descendant of the Sovereign Imperial Clan? If he wasn't strong enough, no matter how good his background was, he was destined to be a shooting star. After a brief moment of brilliance, he would fall. When Xiren and Zhuge Chunyi had seen too many shooting stars like this in their long lives, this was the main reason why they were hesitant. When Xiren said, if Sect Master Lin wants to become an overlord, he'll definitely affect the interests of many factions. There aren't many powerful factions in the ancient Desolate Sea region, and most of them are formed by independent cultivators. These factions naturally won't be able to threaten Sect Master Lin. However, once Sect Master Lin's faction grows stronger, it will definitely attract the attention of some of the top factions in the other regions. Even the 9th Evil Dragon, the overlord of the southernmost region of the Sinkhole Sea region, won't sit idly by. How could he allow others to sleep soundly on his bed? The ancient Desolate Sea region is in the southern sea region of the 9th Evil Dragon's territory. When the time comes, the 9th Evil Dragon will definitely invade. If Sect Leader Lin can defeat the 9th Evil Dragon, the two of us will join you. Clearly, when Xiren and Zhuge Chunyi wanted to test his ability, and Lin Feng was very clear about this. He asked, are you serious? Of course. When Zyron nodded and said, good. Then let's make a gentleman's agreement. If I can defeat the 9th evil dragon, the 2 seniors will submit to me. Lin Feng said, a gentleman never goes back on his word. When Zyron and Zhuge Chini nodded, Lin Feng was in a good mood after making a gentleman's agreement with the 2 of them. He then looked at Shui Yangqiu and asked, Senior Shui, are you interested in joining our Dragon Gate? When the time comes, I'll be with Senior 1 and Senior Zhuge, and we can take care of each other. Shui Yangqiu smiled and said, we'll talk about it when you're able to recruit Senior 1 and Senior Zhuge. Lin Feng smiled and said, all right, I'll visit Senior Shui when the time comes. After pausing for a moment, Lin Feng continued, I've already left the Dragon Gate for a while, so it's not convenient for me to stay here any longer. I'll take my leave now. The 3 of them sent Lin Feng out of the immortal residence. Lin Feng then left and returned to the ancient ship, Xianyuan. Master, you're all smiles. Did you manage to convince the 2 seniors? Wang Yinyang asked with a smile. Lin Feng said, you can say that. Let's return. Rumble. Then, the ancient starship Xianyuan soared into the sky and flew toward the Dragon Gate Island. After returning to the Dragon Gate Island, Lin Feng sent someone to contact the all-knowing pavilion and ask them for information about the Dao sect of Soul Masters. At the same time, Lin Feng also sent people to the mainland. He spent a lot of money to get the Mercenary Association and various large companies to help him find information about the Dao sect of Soul Masters. In the following period of time, Lin Feng didn't cultivate, but he also studied the sky ring he'd obtained from the martial origin immortal residence. The restrictions on the ring were too complicated. Lin Feng had already studied it for a long time, but he still hadn't found a way to break it. One day, a red-crowned crane flew over and delivered a letter to Lin Feng. It was a letter from Feng Yaoguang. Lin Feng opened the letter and read it. Dear husband, during this time, I've been alone on the ancient starry sky path, and I've often missed you. I wonder if you're doing well? Yesterday, on the ancient starry sky path, Yao Guang encountered a starry sky fleet. After asking around, I found out that the starry sky fleet was going to the same place as this mistress. I boarded the ship and followed them through the starry sky. I hope you don't have to worry about me. Feng Yaoguang's name was written on the letter. Lin Feng was silent for a long time after reading the letter. This was the second letter from Feng Yaoguang. However, in the first 2 letters, Feng Yaoguang didn't mention where she was going. This was what worried Lin Feng. Feng Yaoguang didn't say where she was going. Obviously, that place must be very dangerous. Lin Feng lay on the bed and couldn't help but think of Feng Yaoguang's figure. The night was dark. That night, Lin Feng couldn't sleep. Under the Antarctic ice field, outside the 9-story Devil Tower, a pitch-black shadow walked over. A sinister voice rang out, like the cry of a malicious spirit, causing people to tremble with fear. The pitch-black shadow stopped outside the 9-story Devil Tower. Not long after, a black fog flew to the first floor of the 9-story Devil Tower and turned into the appearance of the ancient Devil Clan woman. You're still alive. The black shadow spoke with a hoarse voice. I want to die, but I can't. The woman said, after so many years, you still haven't let go, the shadow said again. Maybe I won't let go until the day I die, the woman said. Since you're not dead, this is the will of the heavens, the shadow said. Maybe, said Yifut Yin. The woman said, it's time to go out. We still have our mission. The shadow said, those things have nothing to do with me anymore. The woman said, no one can escape. Even if you don't want to face it, you still have to face it. Maybe this is the so-called fate. The shadow sighed. Fate. Fate, the woman muttered. Finally, she said faintly, since that's the case, let's go out for a walk. Rumble. The 9-story Devil Tower suddenly trembled and then tore through the void and disappeared without a trace. As for that shadow, it gradually faded away. It quietly left the world under the ice. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.